93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I'm not commenting on that until I'm ready to comment on it.
Jake Bockoven.
You watch the game. You figure it out, huh? What do you think?
Tom and Bock starts now.
What do I think? I think it's a glorious day. The sun is shining. It's another beautiful day. We're inside the trailer, so we'd be comfy anyway because Jake has hooked us up. We're eating Chick-fil-A food as we speak. We'll eat more at the end of the show at 2 o'clock today. But it is Tailgate Tuesday. Stop by this location if you're in the neighborhood at 48th and O, or you could go by the South Point location as well and use the Chick-fil-A app to order a scan to get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, or lemonade, and they'll call you if you are the winner to tell you that you're the winner tomorrow. But you're all winners in our hearts today. I was thinking about, Nebraska basketball. It's a busy day. You've got Nebraska women's basketball today. You've got men's hoops tonight. You had the NFL last night. You had the Jokic fight last night. We've got lots to talk about on this show. I can't think of anything else. Other than, of course, what happened at Memorial Stadium yesterday with the house cleaning that we saw. 4 assistants were fired yesterday by head coach Scott Frost. So we have our answer. Scott Frost is staying, but 4 dudes are leaving.
And how much do you think this is in reaction to the Omaha World Herald's editorial section?
Who wrote that? It was well written.
Yeah, it was
extremely well written and well crafted.
Very strange. And then, the news, it was just kind of a weird day to be a Husker fan. The news that they're keeping Frost, and then you wait a little bit longer, and then they dump all the whole offense. I mean, outside of the tight ends coach, Sean Beckton. So just a very weird day, and in a day that's going to change, alter kind of what this football team looks like moving forward. There's still 2 games to be played. There's all sorts of opinions to go around, but I feel some type of way about leaving the Iowa and Wisconsin, kind of giving up on the season to a degree.
Well, wait a minute. What happens if they bring in all these guys that have been, just pushing pencils around and numbers on a sheet of paper, doing analytics? What if they come? Oh, Ron Brown is back.
I'm excited about Ron Brown being back.
He's got 1 national title in him alone. I mean, he's good. He's good for 2 wins over Wisconsin and Iowa.
I don't know.
He won 3 for crying out loud. He was part of 60-3. No, just kidding. You're right. It's going to be a Herculean task, I would think. I mean, Greg Austin he ran the run game.
Yeah.
Matt Lubick was the offensive coordinator. Yes, so lots of input by Frost, and they'll bring in Frank Verducci and some of these guys behind. I wonder what they'll do with Bill Bush, if they'll just let him take over special teams and move somebody around. But Ron Brown is there. You've got 2 or 3 guys that can help out right away along the offensive line. They've got a few analytics dudes that can come during practice. I don't think it's, especially with the leaders that they have on this team, I don't think it's going to be a big problem.
Well, it's just but it's weird to me. It's just, and I know this is probably in reaction to the new, the December signing period. We're seeing colleges all around the nation are doing this, letting go of coordinators and key people right now. Nebraska, most of them aren't clearing house and keeping the head coach, even though his specialty is where, you're making all the firings around.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
Nebraska's, I mean, for the future, it's fascinating what this offense will look like. But for this current year, and I just feel like I feel like there is something to be left for this year. I know the bowl game's over. Maybe that was the whole goal, and once that's down, you make your moves, but you haven't beat Iowa in so many years. You haven't beat Wisconsin in so many years. I just think that maybe they could have ran it through, and maybe like the firing the coaches as of now. I thought maybe they could have had them go throughout the season, but maybe those guys want to look around. It's just weird. It's an adjustment to the way that we've done college football in the past.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's what he did, and I would say it has a lot of support. I don't know if you did a poll. If that would be more supported than, firing Frost and the whole staff. It'll be interesting to do that. And our poll basically is the text line, the Sutter Heyman text line, and the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 464-5685. But Frost does go from $5 million to $4 million. The buyout is reduced to $7.5 million if he's fired in 2022. It would have been 15.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so that's a big savings, and maybe that's part of what you do. But I thought Trev was really open when he talked about it, the reasons that he did it, and that he considered firing Scott Frost, and maybe that's part of it, the contract. But I mean, he would have had a case no matter what. 15-27 overall, 3-7 this year, 1-6 in the league, 10-23 overall in the Big Ten. I mean, it has not gone swimmingly. So he said loyalty. I mean, the best reason that he had, for aside from how competitive they've been in most of the big games this year, they haven't lost a game by more than 9 points all season long. So you can make that argument. But there have been some clunkers with Minnesota and Purdue, and Trev pointed that out while weighing this decision. But ultimately for him, this is a brother. He literally used the word brother and said, it's about loyalty. And laugh at that if you want, but that's the reason I'm bringing him back.
Well, and it's a combination of things. I mean, but I like the fact that he was honest about it. He didn't do, because this is a move that you just haven't seen. I mean, it's kind of different than what we see in college football. So usually you kind of try to do the business thing, right? You try to make business sense of it. And he said there's not a whole lot of analytics or stats or anything that shows that this is going to work.
Right.
And, for an athletic director to say that, I mean, he's being brutally honest. And then to just say that this is Scott Frost that we're talking about. This is our brother. This is a Husker. And so we want to give him the benefit of the doubt and wanted to give him one more chance. Obviously, while making some moves on the staff to try to make it go forward. And Trev, for what it's worth, Trev said he didn't pressure Scott to make any moves. I do wonder if, you have that meeting with Coach Frost and say, because I sure would, is say, how is this going to get better? I wouldn't just say, we're either keeping him or not. You talk to him, you say, how is this going to get better? He lays out a plan. So maybe while not necessarily pressuring to fire guys, instead going into the meeting saying, tell me what you're going to do to make this thing work. And then, Frost went from there and decided those things. But it's just, it's crazy. I kind of love it. It's Nebraska nice. It really is. It's standing up for our Husker guy. And at the same time, it makes some football sense. We getting stuck in these boxes where, if the head coach is failing, get rid of the whole staff.
Right.
Well, there's an entire side of the ball that's working really well. And I think back to 2003, when Bo Pelini had that defense top 25 in the nation. Right. Josh Bullock was getting picks left and right. Barrett Root and DeMario Williams were getting tackles left and right. Mm-hmm. That defense was a top 25 defense because we had it up to here with Frank Solich, and the 9-3 wasn't good enough coming off 7-7. We fired him, got rid of it, and then the next year the defense was awful. Yeah. So this year, instead of going with that path, going with the complete rebuild, it's worth, I think, them going with, hey, let's scrap the offense, see if we can kind of build around the defense. We at least have something going for us that's keeping us in these games. Most teams, I don't care, who your head coach is or whatever. Right. You don't keep Oklahoma in the 20s. You don't keep Ohio State in the 20s as long as you have a defense to kind of rely on it that can do that sort of thing. I think it's worth the experiment that they're trying out.
What made it awkward for me is what you just said. You keep the defense, which is not Scott Frost's side of the ball. It would have been easier if he would have been the defensive coordinator and his side is going swimmingly. But you could make the case the easiest one to fire would be Frost. This is his offense. He was the quarterback coach. I mean, he's been that from time to time and a mentor to Adrian, and they haven't gotten better on that side of the ball. He took control of the offensive line for 1 week. It looked pretty good against Northwestern. And then, now you remember the last 4 games, they're not running for much over 100 yards if they're even getting that. So the case you could really make is get rid of that Frost guy and keep everybody else
keep Shenander.
Keep Shenander and keep the defense and then work on the offense. That's what makes this conversation a little bit more weird, because now apparently the conversation with Trev was, hey, we met for 20 minutes every Sunday, and those 20 minutes became 2 hours, and we talked over everything, and maybe it's time for you to be a CEO and manage this thing from a larger perspective. You don't have the time to be a coordinator. You don't have the time to do anything but recruit your team, be aware of every detail going on within your program, and you can't do those things if you're coordinating the offense. That's what I got from what happened yesterday. You're going to be the CEO. and you handle the big picture stuff and find coaches around you that are great coaches that can handle everything else.
Yeah, and of course, the biggest, I mean, we'll see with all these different openings what they're going to do with them, but the offensive coordinator is going to be a fascinating hire, regardless who it is, because it'll give you kind of an idea of the direction they're going.
It's going to be Tim Beck.
Beck's not a bad choice, actually.
I would actually love Tim
He's got
Beck.
North Carolina State in the top 25 right now as their offensive coordinator, but, and he was actually pretty good. He might be the best offensive coordinator in quite some time, I think, we go back as much crap as we gave him.
As much crap as we gave him. When he left, I think they were averaging like 38 points.
Oh, yeah.
And that we were mad at him because, you lost that one, 38-35. What's going on?
Yeah. It's like 63-35 at times, and we're still going, they don't know what they're doing on offense.
It's incredible how the discussion has changed. Tim Beck is a much better offensive coordinator currently than Scott Frost. It's not even close. So you could make that case, and I wouldn't laugh at it. I didn't laugh at it because I think he was really pretty good. That's what makes this thing weird. He's got to get these hires right. There's obviously a disconnect, I think, especially between him and Greg Austin.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't seem to commute, and you had the thing this year where Greg Austin took over the keys to the run game. If I'm going to do this thing, I want to, be more involved in it. And we're going to be power football. And where did that go? And it felt like maybe he had a connection with Matt Lubick, and Scott Frost was going to try to stay out of it more, but I don't know that really lasted. Frost was told by Alberts that I'm going to take all this unnecessary stuff off your plate, and you're going to focus on the details of your team. I think that's a great place to start.
It is a great place to start, and it's weird because it's not necessarily Frost's specialty. It's not what got him here. His offense was going to be the main selling point of hiring him. And, and we all remember the opening press conference where the Big Ten's going to have to adjust to him. Mm-hmm. Go look at his record against Big Ten West teams. Right. They've adjusted pretty well to what he's done. So, it is weird. It's not necessarily Frost's specialty to be a CEO. It is an adjustment, and it's kind of a revival and a second round of his go at this thing. And I don't know, and people are kind of questioning, does that mean 1 year? Does it 2 years? Usually when you make all these changes, it's an indication of something to come. But I don't know where the expectation is. Right? Are we going into next year? If you go 3-9, and you don't return a majority of your players, I'm sorry, the national media is going to laugh at you if you think you can win 8 or 9 games. So the expectation is going to be, again, to me, around 6-6. Is that good enough though for what we want? Is that good enough in round 2?
Answer. Yes.
Is it?
It's going to be.
It looks like it. It looks like that's what we're down to.
Here's the thing.
Right?
It shouldn't be good enough, Bock. You're right. But let's face it, they've already made the decision that 3 wins this year is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to come back and we were wrong. We were kidding. Now all of you were fired at the end of the season. That's not going to happen. Yeah. So 3 wins, they've spoken, is going to be good enough to bring Frost back. That would be so. It's already tough to sell what's currently going on. But if you don't get to at least 1 more win, come on. Where's the hope? I just, but that's the decision they made. And I think that the explanation that it's done because of recruiting, you can't have these guys going out on a bye week recruiting, telling recruits that he's going to be their coach. And
who's going out recruiting now, though? You don't have anybody to go out.
Ron Brown can do it all. That guy is gifted.
I do not question that. Ron Brown will always be one of my favorite Husker coaches. And he seemingly just sticks around all the time.
Very young. I mean, they're all young. Tuiotti's still pretty young. So is Root. Send them all out. Let them recruit. I think they can figure it out. And, of course, they allow you by the NCAA to take guys that were analysts and make them at least temporary assistants, interim assistants. So that's what they'll do. Well, they'll send guys out that probably don't necessarily have the hang of recruiting as far as the last couple of years are concerned, but they can make this thing work. It's an interesting decision. It's like, I thought maybe it was a possibility because we had discussed that. I mean, Mario Verduzco, have quarterbacks gotten better? Offensive line, has the offensive line got better? I guess I was surprised that it was 4. I was thinking maybe 2.
Well, yeah, because Four is a complete admission that we're scrapping this thing and the offense isn't working. I mean, that's
how maybe you sell this thing going into the offseason.
Yeah, and I think that is the sell, is that maybe they'll play complementary football a little bit more than they are now to their defense. And I'm fascinated. We'll talk about this later about what they choose to do with the offense moving forward. Are they going to run more of a power option, option for one thing, power type of offense with play action to the tight ends and stuff like that? I think that's certainly possible. I think that clearly they've given up on the idea of the Big Ten adjusting to them. If they're adjusting to the Big Ten, is their offense going to look more like some of the other offenses in the Big Ten West? I think that might be part of the plan moving forward. So, but it is, it's really weird. Even at the ticker at the bottom of the screen, I saw, Nebraska retains Scott Frost, and then you see that 15-27 record next to it, and you just go, that looks weird. That is so weird. The retained and 15-27, it just doesn't look right. And then, we always make the joke. I do my top 10 every day. I have yet to make the joke of Scott Frost's top 10 victories, but they're not there. There's not an impressive one. So it's very strange. This whole experiment has not gone well. But the defense is at a point where, it might be worth keeping it another year, saving a lot of money in the buyout if this doesn't work, and just experimenting with it. And also a tip of the cap to Trev Alberts for maybe knowing, this offseason, I'm kind of new to the AD thing. I have yet to rub enough elbows with people that I feel like I would be great at going and getting a better guy for the next 3 or 4 years than maybe having a year to kind of start sending out some signals and some feelers to where if this thing doesn't work next year, then he's more prepared. So, and I think that's a big part of it, because we always talk about, I don't think that the firing of Frank Solich or Bo Pelini were necessarily bad ideas. They seem to hit, their level of success that they could get here. But the problem was the next hire, was the Bill Callahan hire, was the Mike Riley hire. You don't want to have that necessarily happen. Now, it doesn't. It's harder to screw it up when you're going from a 3-9 team or 4-8 team or whatever it ends up being. But there are building blocks here, because again, this whole discussion revolves around the fact that you are keeping it close with the Oklahomas and the Ohio States. That's not easy to do. Most teams get blown out. And most athletic directors look the other way when their teams get blown out, because they go, well, that's just Oklahoma and Ohio State. We're not up to that standard. Nebraska's keeping those games close.
And it would be an easy decision if the games weren't so close. 23-16 versus Oklahoma, 29-23 Michigan State, 32-29 Michigan overtime. You had Purdue 30-23 in a game you should have won. Yeah, Minnesota and, of course, Indiana or Illinois pisses a lot of people off.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe even Minnesota a little bit. But Ohio State and 26-17, that kind of brings some people back, and they look at if you had a special teams coordinator and if you had maybe a better offensive line, these things would be fixed. Maybe the quarterback will move on this year, but it feels like the people who argue that Nebraska's close aren't completely wrong. We just mentioned the close games that they play in. Yes, they always find a way to lose them. And that's the frustrating thing that makes people think, well, you're not really close. If you don't win some of these games, you're not really close. You're just saying that because those things that you currently cause you to lose those close games will always be there as long as this staff is there. Well, now you change 4 guys on offense, and we'll see where it goes. But the CEO thing really fascinates me. That's the whole conversation. Can Scott Frost take not 1, but 10 steps back from how he sees the team now to a much bigger picture individually and relate better to your players? Not that he's relating poorly, but relate better to your coaches, because it could always be better. The chemistry on this team. I think we've seen this team go a long way as far as culture and team chemistry. We do wonder, how the roster turnover will affect that.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is going to be more important than ever for Scott Frost to be very close to his players going forward and his next quarterback, whoever that might be, and spend your time that way rather than diagramming plays in the office.
Yeah. And I think that, CEO is not necessarily, again, Scott Frost's specialty, but I think it's worth a shot. Because regardless of...
Go talk to Tom Osborne, get a meeting.
Yeah.
He's right here. He mentored you. There's enough coaches. I think Alberts wants to do that job. He wants to mentor him and have him become better. I mean, nobody starts out as a great leader. You grow into it in most cases. Some people have the instincts that are better than others in that area. I don't think it's too late for Scott Frost to become a good CEO. If he wants to save his job, and it sounds like he did, because he gave up a healthy amount of money to come back to Nebraska, where he could have taken a big buyout and said, to heck with you guys.
And his pride, by the way. And he's done a good job of doing that, is starting to play complementary football to his defense. So you could kind of see it coming. But this was not an easy pill to swallow, I'm sure, for him to just say, you know what got me here, my whole offense. I was once thought as one of the brightest minds on offense in college football. And now I'm going to take a step back and likely, not call plays, and so it's definitely, it's very intriguing, but you have to remember with Scott Frost too, this isn't all just blind hope and faith in a guy that we know and love that won the title. Yes, that definitely factors into it, and probably nobody else would get a shot like Scott Frost is getting in this scenario. But this is also one of 7 active coaches to have an undefeated season. That's very hard to do, and it will be one of 6 once Ed Orgeron is given the boot at LSU. So that's a very difficult thing to do. And by the way, keep going with that list. Matt Brown did it in like 2005. Right. I mean, most of these guys are pretty old. Right. We knew that Scott Frost was going to have some growing pains. We thought growing pains meant maybe a couple 7-5 seasons on your way to something spectacular. The growing pains have been a lot more difficult, but it is interesting just to see where he goes. But he still should be considered a hot prospect in college football. As far as, his upward mobility and how well he can do, it's just, and this is probably going to help him in that growth overall, is just to kind of find a different role. And hopefully it works out. It's going to be a big part of it is just, what do they do with that offensive coordinator position? Yeah. What does the offense look like? And then the other part that you mentioned is just how many of these guys can they get to come back? Is Scott Frost coming back going to help and convincing some of these super juniors that you need to, that there's something building here, that all of this is not for nothing. And, this is heading in the right direction. You did enough to keep your guy here. Now, please stay around for one more year. We'll help you. You help us move this thing in the right direction.
Yeah, that transfer portal is going to be huge in the offseason for Nebraska, a small recruiting class. And that's one of the things we'll talk to Brian Munson about, recruiting. A lot of it. Nebraska is out recruiting this week. I want to hear what he's hearing in that regard. It is Tailgate Tuesday. You can stop by this location at Chick-fil-A at 48th and O. Also, South Point, use your Chick-fil-A app to order or scan, get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for up to 15 people. And maybe you can just stay at home and eat the entire meal yourself. That's what I would do. Chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, or lemonade. The winner will be drawn and contacted tomorrow. More from Chick-fil-A and Brian Munson coming up next on Tom and Bock.
Download our app by searching 93.7 A Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I think almost everybody wants Frost to succeed. And that's what
creates a lot of the discomfort.
But you want him to deserve the time to do it. Right? Give us, I want Frost to succeed, but I also want you to go deserve the time
I understand
it takes to do so.
But the vast majority of the fan base wants this to work, right? And that's a lot of what creates a discomfort.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Hi, folks. Greg Sharp here, the voice of Husker football. If your home heating system is making strange noises or just doesn't work like it should, call your friends at Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Sign up for Bryant's exclusive ESP service protection plan. You'll get twice annual complete and thorough service on all brands, and you'll never pay overtime charges on evenings, weekends, or holidays. Schedule your heating check today and ask about Bryant's ESP plan to save money. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Brokers Insurance Agency is currently hiring full-time and part-time insurance professionals. They will provide you with the training and education to obtain your insurance licenses. Brokers Insurance Agency takes pride in educating clients with the best insurance program to help their clients meet their specific goals. If you're a hardworking, motivated person and would like to discuss a great career opportunity with Brokers Insurance Agency, please call Ken Richards at 402-420-5353 or email service@brokersinsuranceagencyne.com. The team at Brokers Insurance Agency is looking forward to helping you get started with your insurance career.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Decreasing cloud cover and a fairly pleasant fall day on the way. We'll see a high of 59. Winds out of the east at around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of around 44. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a good chance of showers during the afternoon and a high of around 55. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It is Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. Jake Pockhoven is there. We are in the Chick-fil-A trailer. It's cozy in here. We're drinking beverages. We're getting ready to do a show. We're actually doing a show as we speak. This is what we call a radio show.
Yeah,
Bock.
I only get ready while we do it, though. So.
That's right. Sometimes he gets dressed on the air. It's a little weird. Stop by Chick-fil-A. 48th and O is where we're located. Also, there's a South Point location. You could use the Chick-fil-A app to order or scan, get rewards points, and be registered to win a free tailgate meal for $15. We are introducing a new segment, Bock, of the Husker Joke of the Day. But let's hang on to it.
Okay.
It'll be something we'll do a little bit later on, and maybe it becomes a regular feature.
Yeah.
You think you like that idea, the Husker Joke of the Day? I mean, when you have coaching firing, sometimes jokes come up. That might be what this is related to. Brian Munson, Husker Joke of the Day. Do you have a Husker Joke of the Day?
I don't know, man, but I have to think about that. But I will tell you what I was thinking about until you guys came over to me.
All right.
I want to participate in the Shut Up Sipple contest because I think 2 Columbus guys going at it on the air talking about that stuff would be tons of entertainment value. I think that
would be fantastic.
Hopefully Sip is listening and he's doing well.
Oh, you guys would be great together. We'll put that request into Jake Sorensen, who is live here at Chick-fil-A, who is involved with Shut Up Sipple every single day on early break with Sip and Jake. We were thinking,
awesome.
We were thinking about this, Brian, along with your radio co-hosting duties with Steve Sipple, about recruiting, because that's kind of what you cover for HuskerOnline.com. We're wondering, one of the things that Trev Albert said is they felt like they had to unload a few assistants if they were going to make changes in the staff, do it now. We're in a bye week and they're out recruiting. It makes sense to you, right?
Right, it does. And I think that also what you hope is also happening is this you get another chance to take a look at the class and how it's coming together and see if it's really if things need to change, obviously, for the current set of circumstances, I think, in which Scott is working from, which I think now you're looking at more of a 2-year window to where he's going to have things kind of focused and turned around, really kind of leveraging those last 2 classes and this class kind of adding to it. But I think that, Nebraska, obviously we've talked about the portal before, but I think the portal starts to play more of an increasingly, important part of this class based on the circumstances that are there. I think Nebraska needs to get, serious about finding a quarterback, finding some offensive tackles, finding a pass rushing outside guy, whether that's a hand in the dirt 4 technique, hand in the dirt more 4-3 defensive end, or more of a stand up 2-point, 3-4 outside linebacker. Then they need to go probably find a kicker, maybe even look for a punter and at least one defensive back to go along with Jaleel Martin that they got last week. So I think the JUCO ranks still have some possibilities with defensive tackles for out of Kansas potentially, but they definitely need to start taking a look around a little bit more about what they need on that team currently to really start fitting into the year 2. This is where we really kind of make our mark.
Well, it's interesting because the portal, like you said, is going to be the big objective here, because I have to think when you're going in and recruiting, a 4-year player, it'd be hard to tell them, hey, I'll be here for your son, go in that living room. We'll be here when everybody kind of knows that how hot that seat is. Is this something that you've seen in the past? Like Bo Pelini kind of had one of these years where he pretty much said, fire me if you need to. And then the next year, how does that kind of affect recruiting when you're just kind of on this experimental window and everybody knows you're on the hot seat?
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it as an actual writer going back, as far as I think Bill Callahan, that there was the cast was kind of being set. I think that we knew it with Bo, obviously. I think that we also kind of felt it with Riley. We've seen things fall apart, with Bill mid-flight, with where he was putting together a tremendous class with Blaine Gabbert and others that were in there, and have it just kind of just be thrown away. But I think in those situations, I think coaches can still be effective. I think that there's a narrative, and this is something I thought about watching the game last weekend, where there's a calling card that can basically be presented by Nebraska. They can show them that film from last weekend. They can show them, the Michigan State, the Michigan, the Oklahoma game, and say, this is where we are lacking. We need that immediate help, at these positions, at this position, of course, that you play. And if you decided to come to Nebraska, I'm not sure what the recruiting pitches are for you to go to other schools, but you're going to play an immediate factor, in this situation to help us get over this hump that I'm trying to document and show and lay out to you right here, right now. I think that there's absolutely a selling point. This can be sold. This is not ice cubes to Eskimos. This is to a kid that's leaving a 4-year institution who never got a chance to see the football field or limited, and now you're going to give him an opportunity to come in and play. Or junior college wise, a guy that maybe was looking for that right situation because he's gone from being the man in JUCO to potentially going back and backing up some 4-star guy wherever he's being recruited from, as opposed to you can come over here and step foot and be in the rotation immediately, if not start. So there is definitely a calling card, a sales pitch, whatever you want to kind of say, to outline how Nebraska can use those guys right now.
Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com. You've mentioned it several times, Brian. Nebraska will focus probably on the JUCO ranks a little bit more, maybe even the portal, just because it's a small class anyway. And now Scott Frost is facing a situation where he has to win. He has to get to a bowl game next year. Does that focus even more on the portal in your mind? And how much do you get to know about portal guys? How tough is it to find information about portal guys?
Yeah, that's certainly one of those tough to bridge kind of gaps. Now, the one thing that we were kind of finding that was interesting, prior to yesterday, where 4 assistants were let go, was that a lot of the guys that were jumping into the portal had some sort of pre-existing relationship with those guys from when they were in high school. So they were on UCF's or Nebraska's radar before, and they had likely been in touch with Nebraska before, or that at least that assistant coach. And so there's always a way to kind of dig back into your notes and your thoughts about a guy and figure out, of course, maybe why you moved on or maybe why they moved on, and figure out if it's still going to be a fit, or if it could be a fit again or ever. So I think that that's something that's very, very unique, particularly to the portal. Otherwise, you hit it dead on. It's like you have a difficulty, although there's between the coaching ranks, phone calls can always be made, and those guys all know each other, or there's just very limited degrees of separation from one another where they can call a person and get basically a read, and they can go back and dial up film. But there's some guys that were in the portal that were announcing that had so limited film available, and didn't see the field in 2 years. Well, now all of a sudden you're going back trying to talk to an assistant coach, going back trying to find somebody that's related to that staff, maybe even back to their high school to try to figure out what's happened with this guy. Why did he go to this place and all of a sudden never find traction, never find a way to get on the football field? So yeah, it makes it a little bit more difficult, but I think that those difficulties are in different spaces with where they're going through the process, either trying to find a 4-year guy or some sort of another junior college guy that's kind of more similar to a portal.
Now, there are obviously nuances to this discussion, so go ahead and tell me if you haven't been in this situation before. But how is Nebraska going to recruit to an offense that they don't know what it will look like next year, and they don't know who the offensive coordinator will be?
I think that there's going to be a similarity there. I mean, obviously, Scott's got a vision for what that offense needs to look like. I think that the parts that go into it are the development of the piece parts that go into the offense, right? There's privately and publicly, there's been discussion around the lack of that development, the lack of development of players at certain positions. How does this always happen? There's no recognition of this. That goes back into the development. So I think that Scott still has a vision for what that offense really kind of needs to be. I think that he sees things that works. He sees things that doesn't work. He has problems in kind of going back and looking at personnel, what's being used in that game situation, down and distance, where you're kind of at in that football game, what you're trying to kind of accomplish. And then obviously going back to, what was it, week 4, week 5, when he had to go back on the other into the offensive line and kind of figure some things out and pull Prohaska potentially, out of a red shirt before he got injured and see what he could do and jockey some things around. So I think Scott's got a really good grip on what he wants that offense to be able to do outside of just the big, the big words that everybody wants to use, like be multiple. I think he understands what he wants that offense to do and what this guy needs to kind of look like and what his skill set needs to be. So I think that's definitely something that he's going to have to get into, with Trev to kind of go and attract the right coordinators.
Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com, our guest. The guys that were fired, Matt Lubick, Scott had a previous relationship, obviously, at Oregon. Ryan Held played quarterback at Nebraska. He was at UCF's. Greg Austin, Mario Verduzco. They all had previous relationships with Scott Frost, and that was one of the criticism there was, I think, from the fan base. You're bringing everybody from UCF? Okay, I guess so. Now, what does he do? Do you think he goes back to the network that he has? And a lot of coaches do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Or he just hires the best guy available?
Well, I think there's going to have to be a little bit of both. He's going to have to go back into the network. And I don't know if the network necessarily has got that guy, that he directly knows who that person is, or if he doesn't have a way to kind of dip into the network to figure out who it is he needs to go take a look at. I think that's part of it. I think that he has a network that can consult, that can give him advice, that can point him in some directions, that can make introductions and give them things for him to think about. But at the same time, I think that there's other things, other factors that need to be considered. I don't think that this has been brought up enough, and I think that it needs to be brought up enough. But recruiting has to be part of these decisions, right? There has to be some factor into getting into some areas where Nebraska just basically is teetering on irrelevance. Texas, California, Arizona, some areas where they've had relevance before and they pulled great players away from those in-state schools. I would even tell you that Nebraska needs to find a way to be more competitive and better between Kansas City to St. Louis. I would tell you that they're not doing good enough things, big enough things out in Colorado. I know that they got Grant Page this year, but look at all the offensive linemen that they've missed over the last two classes. That makes a huge difference. So you need to be more relevant in the 500 mile, and you've got some key hotbeds like California and Texas where you're just not getting enough guys out of those two areas, in my opinion, to where that's got to line up someplace to where, hey, look, it may not be the basis for your choice, but you're looking for a guy that potentially has that. And if you have that capability and you have those ties, then that's a huge plus when it comes to measuring the candidates.
And of course, we got a lot of these recruiting questions out of the way to learn from you, but I did want to get your thoughts on kind of the situation as a whole. It's kind of an unconventional approach, something we really haven't seen before. But I kind of like the idea that you have one side of the ball going. It's not the strength of the head coach, but you don't blow the whole thing up because you have something kind of going on one side of the ball. Usually it all just kind of goes back to the head coach, and I go back to when they fired Frank and Bo Pelini had that defense going, and the next year the defense was awful because they had to restart and restructure everything. Do you kind of like this experiment, especially considering that Trev Alberts, maybe kind of new to the job, doesn't yet have all of these ties, maybe that he could get the best hire that maybe he thinks maybe a year away he could get?
Well, I think it's clearly the side of the football where you had the most questions about what was happening with the development, what was happening with the game planning, what was going through the mind of those players or those coaches basically at that exact moment in time. And obviously, when you start talking about one score games, when you start looking at that difference between winning and losing, you have to also go back and figure out, well, were those 45-48 games, or am I losing it with the defense only allowing 17 points? And you're going to find out it's more towards the latter. So if the Nebraska defense is keeping basically the opposing team to a score that's less than what they average and getting the Nebraska offense, a time of possession to kind of work with to kind of keep the defense off the football field and go down there and score, and then they are scoring touchdowns as opposed to kicking field goals, and then they're not missing field goals, but they're making field goals. I think that you're finding on the offensive side of the football and special teams, it's just about scoring points and being efficient. So that's something obviously that hasn't happened. There's been times where you're just sitting here going, they cannot find a way, inside the 10 to be effective and score the football, and score points, whether it's, fumbling on the one or some bad decision here, or they take a bad penalty, etc. There's always been something, and then you complicate and further compound it when you add special teams into that with any ineffectiveness. Look, there were 6 points left on the field last week. Then you also shanked a punt, and then you also then led to interfering with the fair catch, all special team errors. So you got a thing there that kind of all leads into the bad situation you're putting that defense in. The defense cannot continue to try to keep you in the ball game if you cannot, on the other side of the football, do the most with getting the football based on down and distance and field position and score points. And I think that's what led to the decisions that were made yesterday.
You mentioned special teams in just less than a minute here, Brian. Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com. But Nebraska's been awful in special teams. There was another game you could make the argument, a 13-yard punt, 2 missed field goals, killed them. But Frost has also said it's not the special teams, it's the specialists. Do you agree with that? And 2, should there be a full-time special teams coordinator?
I think yes and yes to answer both your questions. I do believe it's been a problem with personnel this year, and I know Culp is gotta be really kicking himself because going from Big Ten to all Big Ten to being demoted. But that's what happens when you have injuries, and they need to find a punter. They need to find some specialists.
Yeah.
And I think that they also need that special teams coordinator. They need an entire period every day at practice where they're going through all of it because they cannot afford to find themselves next year losing 1 score games because of special teams.
Yep. Well said, Brian. We appreciate your time. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great, guys. Be good.
Hey, Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com, a big Chick-fil-A fan, and how could he not be?
Oh, yeah.
Because they have them in Houston, where he lives, or I think Dallas. He's closer to Dallas. Stop by Chick-fil-A all day today, 48th and O, and they also have a location at South Point. And use the Chick-fil-A app to order a scan to get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people. Chicken nuggets. They got the fresh fruit, they got the iced tea, and the lemonade, and they'll call you if you're the winner tomorrow. Back with more. It's Tom and Bock.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Hi, folks. Greg Sharp here, the voice of Husker football. If your home heating system is making strange noises or just doesn't work like it should, call your friends at Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Sign up for Bryant's exclusive ESP service protection plan. You'll get twice annual complete and thorough service on all brands, and you'll never pay overtime charges on evenings, weekends, or holidays. Schedule your heating check today and ask about Bryant's ESP plan to save money. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Brokers Insurance Agency is currently hiring full-time and part-time insurance professionals. They will provide you with the training and education to obtain your insurance licenses. Brokers Insurance Agency takes pride in educating clients with the best insurance program to help their clients meet their specific goals. If you're a hardworking, motivated person and would like to discuss a great career opportunity with Brokers Insurance Agency, please call Ken Richards at 402-420-5353 or email service@brokersinsuranceagencyne.com. The team at Brokers Insurance Agency is looking forward to helping you get started with your insurance career.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to Maintenance-Free Living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric has been serving Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska for over 50 years. They've been a trusted name to deliver honest, quality services you can count on. It's always important to know someone you can trust, whether it's for your home or your business. Action is well established and offers convenience and reliability, always committed to a job done right. Give them a call or visit their website at actionlincoln.com. Action, your proud sponsor of the Ticket Postgame Show.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
Man, we sure could use an easy win this season. I hear you. That's why I suggested to the wife that we go to Magical Lights of Seward, the area's largest and most entertaining drive-through Christmas light show. So by suggesting going to Magical Lights of Seward, you got a win? Yeah, my wife said it was the best idea I'd had in a long time. The kids loved the dazzling light show, synced with traditional and modern Christmas music, and we had an affordable, fun family experience. Get your win too by pre-ordering your tickets today at magicallightsofseward.com/ticket.
The workday is long, the bills are due, and sometimes you just need to relax. There's no better way to do that than in your brand new hot spring spa from Bonzal Pool and Spa. With hot tubs as low as $75 per month and interest-free financing, you're sure to find the perfect spa to fit your lifestyle. So get over to Bonzal Pool and Spa today and check out their selection of hot spring spas. Bonzal Pool and Spa, 33rd and Highway 2. Every day made better.
Grab yourself a hot dog, pour a glass of eggnog, and settle in. This is the Blog Job on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Live at Chick-fil-A Tailgate Tuesday. I don't know where that came from. Maybe I'm hungry. I'm always hungry, and we'll eat. I've already eaten a little bit, but we're going to eat some more. But 48th and O location, South Point as well. Chick-fil-A. Use your Chick-fil-A app to order or scan, get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, or lemonade. And they'll draw the winner and call them tomorrow. Hi, Rico. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Good list. I think that Bock is coming at the top of the hour. Like the top 10 coaches that he wants. Is that or who are available?
It's assistant coaching time. So we're gonna scour the web for all the ex-Husker coaches because those are the only ones we know, and then we'll say which one of those we want hired.
There's some good options out there.
Can I say something that's going to be controversial?
All right, go ahead.
Can people stop trying to get former players as coaches? Unless they're actually good coaches.
Why is it Jason Peter coaching the defensive line?
Unless they're actually unless they've actually have coaching experience and they have proven to be like good coaches.
Right.
Like just because you were a good player doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach.
Yeah, that's I mean, yeah.
I don't know. It's working out pretty well with Scott Frost.
That's right. He was a good player. I think that argument shoots you right down, Rico.
Yeah.
It is Blog Jog.
Like, I don't want to take people out of the running. Like, I'm sure that some of those guys would be good coaches. They just haven't gotten opportunities or anything. But like, if you are coaching for your job per se, I guess maybe you could say, maybe go get somebody proven before you try to take a chance on someone.
Well, my list is really just mocking everybody. That immediately went to the well.
It's not a very serious list, and then watch it. 4 out of the names on his list will be hired.
Yeah.
Well, look,
that's probably how ridiculous.
If you can go and get Bill Callahan as your offensive line coach, that's a great hire.
Hey, that is a great hire.
He was always a great hire as an offensive line coach. I mean, that guy wins assistant coach of the year every other year. He is the best offensive line coach in the NFL, but he's not a CEO.
What's Tim Beck doing?
Tim Beck's doing really well at North Carolina State. He's got him in the top 25 as an OC.
There you go. We've already ruined the list. That's the list.
That's the list. There it is.
Bill
Callahan
and Tim Beck. That's it.
That's all I really had.
That's all we had time for.
Those are the only people we wanted.
It is Blog Jog time. Here's Rico.
It is Blog Jog time. Let me get this music going. There we go. All right. We've got some stuff and some things.
Good.
This one comes from the GhanaWeb.com. A South African club is releasing a Ghanaian striker for carrying bad luck.
Oh, no.
His name is Mohamed Anis, and the other teams that he's been on in the Premier Soccer League in South Africa have either been relegated or been this close to being relegated.
Oof.
Wow.
So a club had him on their roster, and they're like, we're not taking the chance.
Right.
That's funny. I always thought about the opposite of that. Like, at the end of Robert Ory's career, just sign him just because he seems to always be playing in the playoffs in big moments. So
you don't even have to play him. Just touch his head before the game or
pretty
something
much.
like that.
But I've never thought of the bad luck. I mean, that's really not good. I mean, I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah.
Obviously has no real factor to what's going to happen to them.
He joined the Free State Stars. They were relegated. Then he moved on to the Polokwane City, where they were relegated. And then he went to the Black Leopards, and they were relegated.
We all have that buddy that something bad always happens every time you invite him to the party. Something bad is
maybe is a locker room problem.
Yeah. Well, he's currently at the TS Galaxy, and the players on the team are just like, no, we're going to be relegated if he stays here. Get him out.
I like that.
So
I like that.
He has
Anything
been
else?
cut. Yes. This one comes from thedrive.com.
All right.
Dodge is hiring a chief donut maker for $150,000 a year plus a Hellcat.
Wait a minute, Dodge, the car company?
Yes, but not the donuts you're thinking of. They're pretty much hiring somebody to get in a car, do a big old burnout in a circle, and just talk about how great Dodge is.
It's a trick. It's an advertising trick. It's brilliant. It's very smart.
So why don't they hire somebody for significantly less money to do that?
I mean, $150,000 a year probably isn't much to them. Plus, they're going to give them the Hellcat to make the donuts in. You get the $150 to make yourself look presentable, plus all the gear that they give you.
Does it take any sort of driving skill to make a good donut?
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe
I've never made a
practice.
donut, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can
I
you?
like donuts.
I'm kind of not a very good car person. Is a Hellcat their new car?
I'm not much of a car person. I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay. Very good then. I felt like I was out of the loop there.
Yeah, so
we're all out.
It is a car. It is a car. I know that. I don't know if
the
it's a new one.
The Dodge Hellcat.
Jake probably just sold the Dodge Hellcat, and now we lost the advertising.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah,
fun of it.
You get a
Sorry
Hellcat.
I'd
You get
buy a Hellcat. That sounds pretty cool. I don't know what it is, but I'd take a Hellcat.
I bet it looks like a Hellcat.
It sounds like it's
what
pretty
else?
Cool.
Honestly, if I was able to do that, if I were a good donut maker, I would apply for this job. 100%.
Yeah, I would too.
Is there just applications online? Maybe
I don't know. We should. Go to Dodge.com. I don't know where you have to apply for this.
And that's. I mean, if you're living in LA, it wouldn't be cheap, but $160,000.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
And a car.
And
You have to buy
free
a car.
Hellcat.
That's
Yeah.
free. Yeah. Okay. There's another one. This one comes from The Independent. A woman claimed she forgot she had divorced her late husband when she tried to claim his estate.
Does she have Alzheimer's or does she have a memory issue?
No, she does not. She just forgot that they were divorced, apparently.
Well, if she, I always feel weird about that stuff. Did she spend like 40 years with him and help to buy that estate? I'm sure they already figured that out in the divorce. But
some divorced couples will live together, but maybe if it's a big enough house, you don't see them for weeks on end. And you go, we got divorced.
No, it was he died in 2006. They got divorced in 2002. She was interviewed in 2019, and she was like, I don't remember getting divorced.
I didn't sign any papers.
It's like that. If you haven't seen somebody for a while, you go, hey, great to see you, and you forget why you fought or why you broke up if you were a couple.
Right.
Sometimes those memories just go away.
She said, no, this is my stuff. We didn't get divorced. Even though he remarried and had another family. She was just like, nah, we didn't get divorced. This is my
legally,
stuff.
Yeah, that's right. This is my stuff. She can't have it back.
Maybe that was her plan all along. Just wait till he dies and try to take his estate.
Well, lying is never right, Bock. I think that's the message there.
Well,
Don't
she
lie. Don't be a
she
big fat liar.
pleaded guilty to using a form to get letters of administration for his estate. So she is in trouble.
She's in trouble.
Lying and cheating for money. I mean, you see that pretty much every day.
Single day.
Every single day. And we have box tops every day of the week.
That's right.
It's going to be the top 10 coaches that Bock wants to be hired at the University of Nebraska.
That's right. All former Huskers, all Husker
That's
connections.
right.
Beautiful.
All of them. Bring
Just
them
fantastic.
all. It's coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
The workday is long, the bills are due, and sometimes you just need to relax. There's no better way to do that than in your brand new hot spring spa from Bonzal Pool & Spa. With hot tubs as low as $75 per month and interest-free financing, you're sure to find the perfect spa to fit your lifestyle. So get over to Bonzal Pool & Spa today and check out their selection of hot spring spas. Bonzal Pool & Spa, 33rd and Highway 2. Every day made better.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Decreasing cloud cover and a fairly pleasant fall day on the way. We'll see a high of 59. Winds out of the east at around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of around 44. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a good chance of showers during the afternoon and a high of around 55. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric has been serving Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska for over 50 years. They've been a trusted name to deliver honest, quality services you can count on. It's always important to know someone you can trust, whether it's for your home or your business. Action is well established and offers convenience and reliability, always committed to a job done right. Give them a call or visit their website at actionlincoln.com. Action, your proud sponsor of the Ticket Postgame Show.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Join the whole ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Sponsored by Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, Tractor Supply Distribution Center, T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, Planet Fitness, Barnwood and Leather, and Vitalize Health.
Man, we sure could use an easy win this season. I hear you. That's why I suggested to the wife that we go to Magical Lights of Seward, the area's largest and most entertaining drive-through Christmas light show. So, by suggesting going to Magical Lights of Seward, you got a win? Yeah, my wife said it was the best idea I'd had in a long time. The kids loved the dazzling light show, synced with traditional and modern Christmas music, and we had an affordable, fun family experience.
Get your win, too, by pre-ordering your tickets today at magicallightsofseward.com/ticket.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I'm not commenting on that until I'm ready to comment on it.
Jake Bockoven.
You watch the game. You figure it out, huh? What do you think?
Tom and Bock starts now.
You watched the game. The funniest comment about that Bo Pelini comment was the pause at the end of it.
Yeah,
you watch
figure
it out. You figure it out. That's just he can't resist the final parting shot. I love that about Bo Pelini.
If you haven't figured it out, by the way, I know some people ask us from time to time, "Oh, whose voice is that?" All our show openings are of former head coach or former coaches, just in general. So if you have trouble trying to figure out what's going on there,
Wisdom Riley. I think there's some banker in there. There's definitely
Bill
Bo.
Callahan.
There's Bill Callahan. No Solich, right?
I don't think any Solich. Maybe we should get him on there.
We need to get some Solich mixed in there.
Verduzco. Now maybe we can get Verduzco on there.
That's right. Now we can. Yeah, that's right. We'll bring back the hits. That's for sure. And that's kind of what today is. Just a rotating thing about where Husker football is going. I mean, we have different topics within the framework of that. But at the bottom of the hour, I want to talk more about what the Nebraska offense should look like. I actually don't anticipate or even hope for a big change. I just hope they do it better. I'd love to see them continue to recruit quarterbacks like Adrian Martinez. I would just like them to be less turnover prone.
Yeah.
The running backs recruiting has to be better. Has to be dramatically better. That's been a massive fail under Scott Frost. Wide receivers getting better. Tight ends, pretty good. Offensive line, we like the talent. They just don't develop. And that's the reason that you got to assume that Greg Austin has moved on. The quarterback has not gotten better dramatically, at least from his freshman year to the senior year, like he should have, even though this year hasn't been horrible. So that's why Verduzco is gone. Ryan Held, I thought maybe a little bit of a surprise, but you haven't been able to get Divine Azigbo since Divine Azigbo left town, and you didn't recruit that guy.
Yeah, you didn't play him for half a season.
Nor did you play him for half a season. So I understand why that happened, and we'll go into it a little bit later.
Were you a little surprised by Lubick, or did you kind of feel like that was coming too? Because I don't know if I've seen 3 offensive coordinators in a 5-year span, other than maybe Alabama, where they move on to get good jobs. It's gonna be it's weird. It's gonna be different.
I actually like Lubick in between the 20s. It's in that red zone that they haven't figured out how to score touchdowns, and I think mostly because of the running game. I actually liked. I was hoping for Lubick in some way, maybe that he would come back and get more control, because I don't feel like Frost ever really totally released that to Lubick. It was part his, part Matt's, and so sometimes it was conservative a little bit, sometimes it was foot on the throttle, and I just never figured. I don't think they ever figured it out. But we will have that discussion a little bit later on. Nebraska basketball tonight. Women are actually playing as we speak, so maybe we can get a report from DP a little bit later on.
Oh, that's right.
The women are playing Maine. That started at noon, just tipped off at PBA. But the men play Western Illinois tonight. Kobe Webster's old team.
Yeah.
Where he had over 1,400 points. He was really good at 85 starts at Western Illinois. But that's probably not the biggest story in college basketball tonight. It might be Michigan State taking on number 3 Kansas, or it could be probably actually is going to be Duke versus Kentucky, because this is Coach K's final year. And they might have the best player in college basketball, Paolo Banchero of Duke. He's going to be fun to watch. Like 6'10", really can move, do everything.
It's going to be fun. And those are kind of the one and done schools, right? So you kind of get to meet some of the best freshmen in the nation tonight. Michigan State they're guaranteed to play on this first 4 Tuesday that they do every year, and usually they're pretty darn good. And this year they're coming in unranked, so it's a little bit weird. The Big Ten being as up as it has been, I mean, being really good, is that Michigan State has not been to their normal what you expect them to be. We'll see. I mean, if you get a big win tonight, you can kind of change the narrative a little bit.
I don't know if you saw this in Monday Night Football last night, but one of the bigger plays was a sack by the Chicago Bears. Cassius Marsh sacked Ben Roethlisberger. It was a big play in the game. Might have won it for him. But then he celebrates a little bit in front of the Pittsburgh bench. And I guess, basically just looked at the bench. And then he starts to walk back, and he hits the official.
Well,
bumps into the official. Actually bumped into him.
Yeah. Hip checked him on purpose.
And he kind of hip checked him. And then he throws the flag way into the air. Went like 20 feet in the air.
Yeah.
It was going to hurt somebody when it came down, but it didn't. But he gets a 15-yard penalty for staring at the Pittsburgh bench. It wasn't really taunting, but they've been, and the official explained it after the game. Tony Cervante, I believe is his name, was the official that bumped in to Cassius Marsh, and it cost them the game. Pittsburgh kicked a field goal. They ended up winning the game, but it feels like this taunting penalty needs to go away, because it's never been that bad this year. And they're getting a lot of penalties. There are a lot of penalties being called.
Yeah, and I know he said he called them. I don't know. It's really hard when you look at the play. I mean, he kind of steps back and hip checks Cassius Marsh coming off the field. It's very strange, and then throws the flag. And then after the game says it had nothing to do with running into each other. But he didn't throw the flag or reach for the flag until he bumped into him. So it was just very strange. And for Marsh's sake, that's his I don't know if a mediocre player should have a signature celebratory dance, but he does. And so he does that all the time and doesn't get called for it. So I have to think that the official did not like the bump, but he caused the bump. So I'm not sure where that came from. It was very strange. If I was a Chicago Bears fan, I'd be mad if the goal was to win this year. I'm not sure if that's the goal anymore, because they look like they could use another high draft pick. But, I mean, and that cost them the game.
Yeah, it did. A couple other subjects that I want to hit real quickly from the NBA. Steph Curry, game high, season high for any NBA player, 50 points last night. Golden State wins last night over Atlanta, 127-113. I think he had 24 in the second quarter or first quarter. I think he had 18 more in the second. I mean, he was ridiculous. He was 14 of 28 from the field. He was 9 of 9 from three. He was 13 of 13 from the foul line. He also had 10 assists and 7 rebounds. In fact, he becomes the oldest player to score 50 with 10 assists.
Nice.
The only other 2 players that did that, Wilt Chamberlain is on the list. There was one, Rick Barry Did it both for the only other two players that did that for the Golden State Warriors anyway, were those two guys. But pretty incredible what he's doing. He's now 33.
Yeah.
And he's played better than he ever has.
The babyface assassin, so you don't think he ages, but he does, and it's sad. I mean, the guy has changed the basketball landscape, the way that it's played, and I just like to see him out there forever. And for a while, they got tired of the Warriors, but I'll never get tired of Curry pulling up from anywhere. I mean, he is just incredible to watch. And, with those Kevin Durant years, you kind of, he wasn't the best player on the team. So, you kind of set him off to the side, but you forget that he's one of the best players in the league. And probably right up there with Kevin Durant. Again, he gave Kevin Durant control of that team. And I wish there was somewhat of an alternate universe where that didn't happen. I would have liked to see just the numbers that he could have piled up in his prime those 2 years, and they won titles. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mind it too much, but he could have been the leader and maybe could have even raised the bar as far as where we think of him as an all-time great.
Some of the shots that he was making last night were just ridiculous. But then you watch Steph Curry video, and sometimes you just turn yourself. You're like, okay, I've seen this before, and we should always be amazed because he's truly the best shooter that has ever existed.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting.
And they're 9-1, and they still are waiting on Klay Thompson to come
When they
back.
get Klay, they'll be really, really good.
Yeah.
Not that they aren't already. They're really, really good. It is time for Box Tops. The topic today, Bock.
The top 10 assistant coaches to replace the fired coaches.
Can't wait.
All right, a few numbers, actually more than 10 to go through here. So I'm just gonna name them off, and you tell me your thoughts.
I'll
of
react.
Maybe how possible.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's start with former Nebraska offensive line coach, now Arizona State offensive line coach, Mike Cavanaugh. Do you think you want to bring Mike Cavanaugh back to fix
that's
the
right.
offensive line?
He was one of Mike Riley's friends, long trusted colleagues. He was an okay offensive line coach. I wouldn't hate Cavanaugh. I didn't think he was bad.
Yeah.
Their problem was they just didn't recruit good enough players. But I think he did the best he could to develop some of those guys, and some of those guys are still playing in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, it's not – his guys weren't throwing pick sixes left
No,
and right.
that's right.
That was the quarterback.
Yeah.
How about wide receivers? Let's look at Keith Williams, who's from the Riley staff. He has joined the Ravens this past year as the team's pass game specialist. We're going to bring him back. Of
Remember
course,
all
he got
those
some
great
DUI
players?
problems.
I think he's a real – maybe it was hype. I think some of it was a little bit of NFL hype, and that Keyshawn Jr. was coming.
Yeah.
And this guy can really coach wide receivers. But NFL guys would train with him all the time.
Oh, yeah, including Devontae Adams, probably the best wide receiver in the league.
Yep. And the guy is the real deal, and you don't just get jobs. I mean, that's a pretty good gig.
Yeah, yeah.
Arizona State's having a very good year.
Well, Mike Cavanaugh's at Arizona State.
Okay,
Keith Williams
sorry.
is with the Ravens.
Okay,
which
Ravens.
is also
Oh,
a pretty good
sorry.
gig.
Yeah, that's obviously NFL there.
Yeah. I think maybe you just you have to hire a driver along with him for make sure he doesn't get no DUI. I don't know how that happened.
That happened one time.
That happened 3 times.
Okay.
That happened one time in Lincoln for his third DUI.
Yeah, that's right. It happened
And
one
if
time
it
in
happens
Lincoln.
3 times, I think that's a problem. And if you make that much money, I think you should hire a driver to be along with him.
Yes, that's been a theme in the NFL. Hire and Major League Sports, obviously this in the NFL as well.
How about former big money man Bruce Reed? He can come back and fix the special
Where's
teams.
he?
He's at Northern Arizona.
Oh, wow. He's still coaching good.
Still coaching special teams.
Remember that whole thing? He was making $500,000 a year, one of the highest, second or third highest paid coach on the entire staff. He would coach the first 10 minutes of practice, and then special teams would be over, and then he would just get in his truck and drive home.
Yeah, sometimes not even that. I just based on one practice I've been to, I wouldn't hire that guy.
No, but Mike Riley sure loved him.
Oh yeah, but he was.
You need a
forced out
special
here.
teams coordinator. Might be
You
worth
do
a call.
need one. Yeah,
it might be worth a call.
One of the industry's best. How about former offensive coordinator Danny Langsdorf, now the quarterback coach for Colorado Buffaloes?
All right, that's good to know. I actually didn't hate Danny Langsdorf.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad.
Didn't love him either.
Yeah, he was the
okay.
greatest. Maybe just for quarterback coach. Maybe not the offensive
I think
coordinator.
it's just part of it. I like the name Danny Langsdorf.
Yeah, remember when he was? Hey, maybe Langsdorf's the coach in waiting after Riley
That's
retires.
right.
He's getting older. Langsdorf's a hot prospect. That didn't turn out.
Yeah,
how about a couple other guys, most notably on the other side of the ball on defense, but they are also special teams coordinators at their current spots. Ross Ells, linebacker coach and special teams coordinator for Michigan State.
See, and I know I found that out when Nebraska played Michigan State earlier this year. But he's also, I think, a Lincoln East or Northeast coach, former Northeast High coach. Might have been Ross Ells.
Yeah.
And then he coached at Nebraska. So, yeah, bring him on back. Let's bring him back. I love that name.
Yeah, that's pretty good. How about Mike Eckler, who's now the outside linebacker coach for the Tennessee Volunteers, also a special teams coordinator.
Wow.
I like Mike Eckler. I'd bring him back.
He wasn't a bad coach. I mean, if you were going to make the high, I actually would go with Bill Bush if I'm going to hire a special teams guy. But Eckler would be, he's a good coach.
How about former Nebraska offensive coordinator Sean Watson, who is now the offensive assistant and quarterback coach at Northern Iowa? Sean Watson's fallen down a little bit.
He has.
The coaching ranks.
Remember when instead of firing him, Bo Pelini, because he was kind of handed Sean Watson from the Bill Callahan era.
Yeah.
Instead, he gave him a try at offensive coordinator, didn't work out. And instead of firing him, they just had him get another job somewhere in college football.
Yeah.
Then
he went to Louisville.
Was it Louisville?
With Lamar Jackson, actually.
Yeah, and it went really well. But
and Texas.
At that time, we thought, well, man, he's being demoted, but Bo got him another gig so he could hire a new offensive coordinator.
Wasn't it Sean Watson? Both Sean Watson and Tim Beck got jobs at Texas, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. They did.
And Tim Beck even took the Ohio State one before that. So
that's good to know he's still in college football.
Yeah, Northern Iowa was a little bit of a lower level, but that's fine. How about Ted Gilmore, tight ends coach at Michigan State now?
He was Callahan's wide receiver coach,
that's
I
right.
believe.
Yep.
Where is he now?
Not a bad one. He's a tight end coach at Michigan State.
Okay. Michigan State's got them all.
Yeah, Michigan State's got a few former Huskers.
All right. Where's Turner Gill?
Turner Gill is where is Turner Gill now?
He's
I didn't write it down. He's like working in an athletic department in Arkansas, I believe. But he had a pretty good.
He was at Arkansas, and I think his wife he took that gig because he didn't have time to be involved as highly as he was.
Yeah.
I mean, his wife had some health problems.
Oh, okay.
I know. But he went to Arkansas, right? The University of, and I thought he had left there, but he's still in Arkansas.
I'd have to double check.
Okay.
That's the last thing I saw. But
right.
he would be I mean, I think Husker fans would like to bring Turner Gill back.
Oh yeah, who doesn't love Turner Gill?
How about Bobby Newcomb, who's now the head coach at Castile High School in Arizona? How about the 97 quarterback? You need the 98 quarterback to help you too.
Yeah, well, there you go. And maybe does he have a Bobby Newcomb Jr.? Does he have a son?
Yeah, maybe, I think so.
Hire him and bring his son. I mean, any of these kids. That's the problem. Nebraska hasn't developed enough kids. I mean, the superstar. I mean, Trev Albert should have 6 sons that all attended to the University of Nebraska. Same with Grant Wistrom.
That's right. We should start a program where the college kids, while they're in college, start having kids, but only males. No, they can be females too. We can use them on volleyball.
Okay, it sounded better when I said it in my head before I said it out loud.
Probably not in the cards here because he's on the defensive side of the ball, but you see Trent Bray now, the defensive coordinator, interim defensive coordinator at Oregon State. And former interim head coach, if you don't forget, at Nebraska.
I thought he might have been the best coach at Nebraska. He was a really good recruiter.
Yeah,
and
Riley
his dad was like a coach somewhere at that time, and he's just a very good coach. I'm surprised. I know he's the interim defensive coordinator. I wonder if he gets that job.
I think it'll depend on how he does.
Yeah,
we'll
probably
see.
Will.
And it's kind of weird because Jonathan Smith, that's kind of their breakout year out there in Oregon State, and they're even making a fire right now because they're obviously their defense is holding them back. By the way, Avery Roberts is not holding them back. He's one of the nation's leading in tacklers.
Man, how did we miss on that guy? I mean, we didn't think he was good. He was here.
Yeah, well, he didn't play.
He didn't play. Well, he was only here 1 year.
Yeah. How about we bring back Barney Cotton? I don't know what he's up to now, but of course, former offensive coordinator in 2003, longtime offensive line coach here. And he had some sons that helped.
That's right.
Nebraska.
He said 2 of them, right? Or is it? Yeah.
Ben, Sam. There was 3. Wasn't there?
Was there 3?
Jake.
Okay.
Ben, Sam, and Jake.
Nice. Well done on the Cotton family.
I'm a big Cotton family fan.
Well, why wouldn't you be?
I went and saw him as the OC at UNLV when I was there. Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I would consider bringing him back. I mean, but he's in his 60s now, probably, and I think he had a heart transplant.
Yeah,
I
he
hope
had
he's
some health
doing.
problems.
He had some major health problems, and I hope he's doing well. I don't even know what he's doing now.
I don't know if he's up to much, but I always like bringing up the Cottons. They're a good Husker football family.
Yes, they
how about Tim Albin?
Oh, he's not.
He'll probably get fired at Ohio.
He replaced Frank Solich as the head coach at Ohio.
I think they have 2 wins so far,
Yeah,
so he might be
that's
on the
better
market.
than they've had for. I mean, didn't they start like 0-5 or 6 or something like that? But yeah, he designed a 42 flash reverse.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think that was his play. And I've told you the story. I was interviewing Frank about trick plays, and he finally got so aggravated with me because I asked the same question 10 different ways because Frank doesn't give you a long answer. And he finally yelled at me for asking about trick plays. And justifiably so, because Nebraska used the 41. It was 41 flash reverse, right?
Was it black 41 flash
Black
reverse?
41 flash reverse. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good play.
But that was Tim Albin that came up with that play.
How about Ed Ordron? He's got an opening. He's on the defensive line, but really that LSU staff, maybe you could bring him along. But Jake Peets is the name all the Husker fans are clamoring for.
Isn't he from Nebraska? He's from Nebraska.
Yeah, he played for Nebraska. He's from Nebraska. He's the LSU offensive coordinator, and that offense is holding them back. So, but still a rising guy in the industry.
I don't want that offense. It's ugly.
Yeah.
But if you had Joe Burrow running, it'd probably be a lot better.
Yeah, I think it depends on the personnel you have there.
It probably does.
I'll throw this one out there about Zach Taylor. You pay enough money? Is that did they save enough money they can buy him from the Bengals?
Would you want him? Would you want Zach
As
Taylor?
an assistant coach? Yeah.
Yeah, as an assistant coach. I guess you would.
As a head coach, that would be interesting.
He's a brilliant mind. I mean, some people think he could become the next Sean McVay or Cliff Kingsbury. Because that's what you do in the NFL. You hire a 30-something coach that's pretty good looking and tall, former quarterback, and then that's what you do.
Yeah.
It's kind of the new recipe.
It was kind of cool because the Browns played the Bengals this last week, so it was Bill Callahan against his former quarterback because he's with the Browns now. So
that's right. Big 12 player of the year.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Zach Taylor, they were starting like 4-2, right? Now they've lost their last couple.
They have not looked good as of late.
No. We mentioned this as a joke earlier, but it's not a joke. Tim Beck would be a great addition for Nebraska. Tim Beck and John Garrison actually both out there on the offensive staff for North Carolina State. Beck is the offensive coordinator. Garrison's the offensive line coach. They're in the top 25. They're playing Wake this week. If they beat Wake, I mean, they might be the ACC champs by the end of the year.
How old is Tim Beck? He's got to be in now Scott's age, right?
Yeah,
or maybe
a little older, probably.
Maybe a little bit older. I've always voiced my opinion. It took a lot of crap from the text line for saying I really liked Tim Beck.
Yeah, you did. You did back in the day.
Yeah, I know.
Because he was. People didn't always like Beck's offense.
No, because but he was so controlled by Bo. It was like you're going too fast. You're going too fast. You're going too fast. I got to slow it down. Run the ball. Give my defense a break. Meddling defensive coordinators who are head coaches sometimes make programs fail.
Yeah,
I think that's why I don't like Mike Zimmer with Minnesota.
All right, we just got a few more names here. How about Joe Gans is the most popular one Nebraska fans want because they loved him as a quarterback. He's now
Northern Iowa. Where is he?
Wide receiver coach for Northern Iowa.
Yep. And that's where Scott Frost did some time there.
Yeah,
as well. So bring all the North. They have a linebacker currently from Northern.
That's right.
They should bring all the Northern Iowa people back.
People would go crazy if Joe Gans was brought back.
I love
to the staff.
Joe Gans.
Everybody loves Joe.
Would he try to run the Callahan offense though?
Yeah, who knows?
Because that's when he had his most success.
I hope they wouldn't bring him in for offensive coordinator. Maybe just the wide receiver coach or quarterback coach or something.
Yeah.
But, and of course, the best options. We already mentioned Bill Callahan on the offensive line. Probably going to be hard to hire him away. But Tom Osborne and Frank Solich might be out there. I mean, you could breathe a little bit more 1997 juice in this place, and
there you go. They could at least be on that interim staff.
Yeah,
and tell you. I mean, how many weeks is it going to take to hire a coach or all four coaches?
It's going to be weird. Do you want to hire them now? Do you want to? I mean,
no.
Do you want to wait till the pools are kind of?
No, you want to wait until
the
the teams have fired their head coaches, and then you'll have a bunch of assistants to deal with, unless you're USC or special situations like we've seen a few of them in college football. I don't know. I think there's already some good guys available. If you feel like you've got your guy and nobody's after him currently, go get him. I mean, we see this all the time before bowl games. The guys, opt out and they're not even coaching the bowl game.
Yeah.
Scott did that, and that was rather weird in some ways. I'm glad he did it. with UCF, but it might have set Nebraska back a little bit.
I'm not necessarily
Might
glad
be one
he
of the.
did that.
I was happy because
it was cool to cheer
Yeah.
for him in the bowl game, and it worked out well. And
Um,
they have the national championship that they claim and all that. But
You're
I
still
don't
mad
know.
about it. You're still
I'm not
mad about
it. It's just that they that recruiting class wasn't very good.
Yeah.
They started 0-6. I think that maybe some of
I thought it would help the
focusing on
recruiting.
Nebraska and the new job.
Yeah, I
would
think
help.
it.
I thought it
It
would
gave
too.
them. It got them Adrian Martinez. I think in part that they played in that bowl game. I don't know. I think sometimes it benefits you because you're advertising on
Right.
national TV in a bowl game. They show your face. Oh yeah, there's the new coach at Nebraska.
It wasn't a bad idea at the time. I supported it at the time. Like I said, the
now you're
recruiting
mad.
class hasn't turned out well, and they started 0-6. So
No.
I'm just not sure it worked out.
Yeah, I like the petty side of Bock occasionally because we don't see it every day.
Oh, by the way, my tongue-in-cheek offensive coordinator that I really want is Paul Johnson.
Oh, before we get to break, speaking of the joke of the day, that
Oh,
felt
that's
like
right,
a joke
yeah.
segment. We're introducing a brand new segment called the Husker Joke of the Day, and it comes from the text line. I don't remember what time it was. I think it was in the 11 o'clock hour when we were talking about the potential of the Husker Joke of the Day. And if this works, it's going to take off and it's going to be sponsored, and we're going to all make a lot of money off the Husker Joke of the Day.
And we need your help for it. That's where
That's
we're
right.
going back to.
That's why we're trying to find it on the text line.
Yeah,
You got
I
it?
found it. Today's joke of the day comes from What Blanket. He says, do you think this offseason the new offense coordinator will prepare for both odd and even fronts?
But that's a rim shot type joke right
Yeah.
there. See, I thought that was funny, and maybe it's a segment we'll do never again, or we'll do it every day.
Yeah.
Let's get to break and come back with this topic. I want to think about this for a while, and I want some good input on the text line, 464-5685, Sutter Heyman text line, Honda of Lincoln hotline. What do you want Nebraska's offense to look like? What should it look like going forward? I mean, who he hires as offensive coordinator will maybe say something about that, but I would like the input from the text line. We'll do it coming up next on Tom and Bock.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Here's to days spent roaming, and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical, and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska state parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Decreasing cloud cover and a fairly pleasant fall day on the way. We'll see a high of 59. Winds out of the east at around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of around 44. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a good chance of showers during the afternoon and a high of around 55. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljob.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's It's going to be great.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln. Early break with Sip and Jake.
I think almost everybody wants Frost to succeed, and that's what creates a lot of the discomfort.
But you want him to deserve the time to do it. Right? Give us, I want Frost to succeed, but I also want you to go deserve the time.
I understand
it takes to do so.
But the vast majority of the fan base wants this to work, right? And that's a lot of what creates a discomfort.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
If you're thinking about a new career, improving your job skills, or just continuing your love of lifelong learning, Southeast Community College's Spring Continuing Education Catalog is hitting your mailbox soon. It's chock full of options. Learn how to write a compelling grant application, become a pharmacy tech, or even learn to ride a motorcycle. We even provide the bike. Check out your catalog or go to southeast.edu/continuing education. SCC, your path to possible.
Angry about a recent Nebraska football loss? Go throw axes at Kraft Axe Throwing. Optimistic about the upcoming Nebraska football game? Go sign up for free football tickets at Kraft Axe Throwing. Bring some friends, reserve a bay for an hour or more, release anger at the targets by hucking an axe at it, and walk away feeling better about yourselves and the football season just in time to enter for a chance to win a free pair of tickets to the next home game as you walk out the door. Reserve your lane online at craftaxethrowing.com or call 402-802-9696. Kraft Axe Throwing at 18th and N in Lincoln.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And one of our favorite places to be in the entire world, Chick-fil-A. At 48 and O, that's the location we're at today at Chick-fil-A. You can also go to the South Point location, though, where we rotate back and forth. Last week we were at South Point. Today we're at 48th and O. But use your Chick-fil-A app to order or scan to get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people. That's nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, or lemonade, and they'll call you if you are the winner. This is text line time. And you can see it better than I can. But I asked the question going into the break, Bock, what should the Nebraska offense look like going forward? And I guess we'll learn at least a little bit about it based on the expertise of the coaches they hire. But what do you want to see? What is it? What should it look like?
It's interesting. I don't know. I've always said that I think Nebraska should be, and somebody says off the text line, go back to a ground and pound offense. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. I don't know if this coaching staff, and I don't know what the coaching staff will look like, but I don't know if Frost necessarily wants to do that. But I think that's the Midwestern way. I think that's the Nebraska blueprint that a lot of teams have copied and had a lot of success in. And, I don't necessarily think you go back to the option, but I think you definitely keep some of it's been working for Nebraska. Right. So you keep some of those elements that you have here. It doesn't have to be, a 2 tight end set all the time, but that's the type of bodies that are more easy to recruit and come by in the Midwest. And so, I like to see it move that way at some point in the future. I don't know if this experiment, and it really is. This is a Frankenstein type of experiment right now, just kind of a last gasp hope. And so you kind of want to lean on your strengths there. So you kind of got to build it around your personnel right now, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you just don't have, a lot of time to get this right. So I think it's got to be a combination of what they have now and just more of an approach in my opinion, to the ground game, just being less risky with the ball because you can rely on your defense.
I can argue against the Frankenstein experiment thing, because it's not really. As you made the case earlier, you're hiring the entire defensive staff. That could be better than hiring a complete staff. And one side of the ball just stinks. At least going into next year, they should be good because they've been trained to be pretty good, and he's grooming them. So we've got that side out of the way. So maybe this isn't as Frankenstein-y as you might think.
Well, I was talking about the offensive side of the
ball.
ball.
Okay. And then your theory on the offensive side, if you're Trev Albertson, well, it can't be much worse than that. At least they're moving between the 20s, and they've had a mobile quarterback who's been pretty good. If we could eliminate some of the mistakes, groom this offensive line, they are still fairly young, add some recruits around them at playmaker. We got to find a running back, and we'll be okay. At least we know the defense is good, so this isn't crazy. In fact, it might work out.
Yeah, that's why I like the move overall, not just because it's sticking up for Scott Frost and Nebraska Nice and all that, which I kind of like that as well. Nebraska's kind of got their own stigmas to them over the years about firing 9-win coaches and all that, and this one will just show the loyalty and how nice Nebraska is. And I kind of say that sounds like kind of a joke, but it is what it is. And for what it's worth, Nebraska's interesting. Nebraska keeps getting nationally televised games. Another one will be against Wisconsin this next time they go out. It's 2:30. They announced on either ESPN or ABC. People are interested in this because they play good ball games. They play close games, and this is certainly an extension of interesting. And that's what's kind of keeping those 85,000 people showing up every week. So, I mean, I like the move overall, and like I said, it doesn't just tank all the movement and the positivity that's going on the defensive side of the ball. But you really kind of think about their offense and what they need to do. It's a lot easier to do it than to say it. Like it, right? Like what I would like to see is an offense that gets that mentality that once you're inside the 20, you run straight forward, you get what you're able to do that. That's how successful teams work in the red zones. They don't need too many tricks or, the lack of space that, the defense has to cover, hurts the passing game. So you just pound it forward and get those yards. Another thing that would help is a kicker. I mean, I don't know if you'd be having this whole experimental change if you had a kicker like just last year's success as a kicker, which is a lot to ask, going from the worst kicking game to an all Big Ten type of kicker. But, so I don't know how much you need to completely overhaul this thing. You just kind of need to make those tweaks, but those tweaks are difficult to do. If it's easy just to get that mentality of road, grinders, ground and pound mentality, it's a lot harder to actually do it in real life.
Yeah, I agree. In thinking about what this offense needs or what it should look like, a physical running down, ground and pound. That doesn't mean you can't sprinkle in a little bit of what Nebraska does. I love what PJ Fleck has done with the culture, the physical culture at Minnesota. Yeah, they've had some bad losses, and Illinois maybe looking less and less like a bad loss. Certainly Bowling Green was. But he's 6-3 and he's 4-2 in the conference, and he's playing for another championship. And he's probably doing it with less talent than you have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing what they do a little more often. I like what Wisconsin does offensively, but I would rather have a more mobile quarterback to go with it. I mean, the last time I can think of Wisconsin being so dangerous in college football was when they had Russell Wilson to go with it. They had a pocket guy that could also run. Maybe that's the next step for Nebraska football. There's a lot of people that would love to see the option continue. Yeah. The spread option has been fun to watch, and it reminds Nebraska of the glory days. That's not bad. And sometimes it brings a more physical mentality. What would you ultimately like? I mean, aside from just the ground and pound, what do you want to see specifically from the new offense?
Well, again, it's just kind of that red zone success. That's really what they got to focus on because they can get a lot of this other stuff.
Well, that means more fit. You better be able to run the ball when it really matters.
Well, and that's the problem is you just can't patch a new philosophy to this offensive line. You're going to be working with the same offensive line. So, I mean, if I could, honestly, if you told me I could get a dynamic hire, I don't know where it is, 5 years from now or whatever you say, one of these hires that they're going to make is going to be great. Do you want it to be the offensive coordinator or do you want it to be the offensive line coach? I'd say the offensive line coach. Because if you have a great offensive line, I think you can funnel in and out offensive coordinators that can have success. So that's the big part is like, I like the idea on the perimeter, right? I like Xavier Betts and Omar Manning, big blocking wide receivers. I like a 2 tight end set. Whether Vokalek comes back and Fedoni's in there or whatever, your best blocking tight ends, and then run Jock Yant. That all sounds great. But do you have the 5 guys on the front that are going to be able to help with that powers type of set?
Well, there's enough schools that do it a relatively short time without 4-star recruits like Bryce Benhart or Turner Corcoran, who have not performed well. If you watch Pro Football Focus, their rankings everywhere, the way they grade out, it's mystifying. It makes me think that maybe it is as simple as hiring a guy who can coach. Go get Bill Callahan again. And see if he'll take $5 million to be the offensive line coach. He'd have at least a good laugh at when you offered him the gig. It would be hilarious that way. But I think that's it. It's coaching. You can't tell me that it's not because all the same problems happen over and over and over. And we're hearing great practice. I don't understand where this is coming from. BS. If they're doing it in games, they're doing it in practice. And DP has drilled this into my head. Players only do what you allow them to do enough times until you say enough is enough. And sometimes the voice gets old. I think sometimes you just stop listening or tune out. I don't know if that happened in this case, but a different voice, as Scott Frost, is definitely something that is necessary. I didn't think I would have gotten rid of Lubick, but I thought the quarterback coach and the offensive line coach were the ones that were a sure thing for me.
Well, and I'm seeing off the text line, too, people saying, maybe you don't have to make that much of a tweak because there are parts of this offense that is working. But maybe the biggest one, somebody on the text line also says, is the time of possession thing. Maybe not try to lead be second in the Big Ten in total yards. Maybe that doesn't help as much.
Empty yards.
Yeah, and maybe that doesn't help as much as protecting your defense. Now, it won't be as flashy, but you got to get the victory. So protect your defense. Try to hold on to the ball. When Frost got here, and I don't think it ever worked just because of the personnel that they had. Remember, the idea was like 5-second or less offense. I mean, and it was just going to, no huddle, hurry up, not allow the defense to adjust. And it just never got going. They never had the personnel to do it. And over the years, it's kind of turned into quite a huddle offense. But, I think that you need to continue to do that and just grind these teams out. Be the team. Like we said,
give me an offense in the Big Ten that you want. I mean, and they're not, none of them are sexy outside of Ohio State. I don't mind what Harbaugh has gone back to. It feels like he's gone back to his roots at Stanford and what he first did at Michigan a little bit. I mean, I kind of picture maybe Michigan or Wisconsin or what Minnesota does when you're describing what you want. Give me a specific Big Ten offense that you would mimic.
But that's tough to do without the personnel, right? Like I would love to run and protect the defense and run what Minnesota runs.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they have those guys in place, and I don't think you need to completely throw away what you do have, which is some playmakers and some things that have been working. But at the same time, like I said, I'd love to be to have a culture based around the offensive line and the running back. Nebraska had that for years. If you do that now, I just don't know if the guys that you have in Ramir Johnson are going to lead the way, be the secret change that we're rely more on those guys than your quarterback. But
sometimes that guy is there on your roster the entire time, and you're just not playing him. I mean, remember what happened with Devon Azigbo under Mike Riley? He never played with Mike Riley.
Yeah,
I was way down on the depth chart. It took for a while for Nebraska to play him, and then you realize, hey, wait a minute, we had a good guy on our roster the entire time. Sometimes it might be Savion Morrison. It might be somebody else. Maybe Gabe Urban comes back strong. Maybe Ramir develops or Jaquez Yant, the guy that we're all hoping could be the guy, can actually be the guy. Sometimes it's a guy that's already there.
Yeah,
and good coaching brings that out.
I just think though, because they've kind of adjusted their scheme for the Oklahoma games, the Ohio State games, the Michigan State games, where they were kind of more of protecting their defense and trying to eat up more time. I think that's the correct approach. But I also just like the idea of still having that mobile quarterback. I mean, because we see at times, this last week, you just couldn't pass protect. If you had a stand-in pocket guy, that would be a disaster. It's as much of a disaster as it was with Adrian Martinez.
Well, it's even the way in the NFL now. I mean, if you don't have a mobile guy, Tom Brady does it, and I don't know how he does it all these years. I mean, 44 years old. But he moves well within the pocket. Drew Brees moved well within the pocket. You always have to have a guy that moves, and a guy that can run on top of moving would be most ideal for me going forward for Nebraska's offense. If not a guy with Adrian's speed and athleticism, at least a guy that can evade pass rushes, move, and get yards with his feet, extend plays, that type of thing. I would demand at least that for Nebraska's next offense. But I don't get a demand a lot because nobody really takes me seriously anymore, except for at Chick-fil-A.
Seems like you were calling for some jobs, and
That's right.
some guys get jobs.
That's right. Maybe I have more power than I know. I have the power to order after we're done here in about an hour from now and eat at Chick-fil-A at 48th and O. Also, South Point, come by here or the other location. Use your Chick-fil-A app to order, scan, get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for up to 15 people with the nuggets, the fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade. And the winner will be drawn tomorrow. Let's get to break. We do have to give away $10 or $15. When I'm trying to go cheap on this, $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings to caller number
4.
Caller number 4 is a winner. 464-5685. Call right now to win $15 from Buffalo Wings and Rings. We'll do that actually right now and then come back with more from Chick-fil-A next with Tom and Bock.
Download our app by searching 93.7 A Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Angry about a recent Nebraska football loss? Go throw axes at Kraft Axe Throwing. Optimistic about the upcoming Nebraska football game? Go sign up for free football tickets at Kraft Axe Throwing. Bring some friends, reserve a bay for an hour or more, release anger at the targets by hucking an axe at it, and walk away feeling better about yourselves and the football season just in time to enter for a chance to win a free pair of tickets to the next home game as you walk out the door. Reserve your lane online at craftaxethrowing.com or call 402-802-9696. Kraft Axe Throwing at 18th and N in Lincoln.
The weather has changed, and now it's time to adjust your footwear to change along with it. Stop into Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q to get ready for cooler temperatures and fashion trends. They're stocked with Hey Dudes, Brooks, New Balance, Danner boots, Keen or Merrill hiking boots, and plenty of other options. Plus, they have Nordic beach jackets and Bindle tumblers to take to the gym with your new athletic shoes. So get to Brown's Shoe Fit today at 66th and Q.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
You could celebrate a Nebraska football win with chips or wings and your favorite beverage, but Beatrice Bakery has all sorts of cakes to celebrate all victories this fall. Coffee cake, breakfast bread, artisan cakes, and especially Grandma's fruit cake. No one remembers who brought the chips, but everyone remembers who brought the cake. Make your parties memorable and your Mondays at the office better with cakes from Beatrice Bakery. They ship nationwide. Check out BeatriceBakery.com, proud sponsors of the Nebraska Shrine Bowl. Welcome to our world of yum.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Lincoln's mega liquidation store is here. Wholesale Logistics opens Friday on West O Street as a bin store with tons of liquidation pallets, appliances, mattresses, furniture, laundry detergent, and more. Brand new mattresses, 30 to 60% off retail with well-known brands. New furniture, also 30 to 60% off retail value. Brand new LG Scratch and Dent appliances, 35 to 40% off retail. Wholesale Logistics purchases truckloads of smaller items from major retailers and throws them into bins, with everything starting at just $8. Get to Wholesale Logistics, opening Friday at 2811 West O Street.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great clips. It's going to be great.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
I don't like you because you're dangerous.
That's right. You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Actually, you've already called because caller number 4, I'm sure Rico answered the phone, and the winner was whoever it was.
There was a winner.
It was, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It was caller number 4. So congratulations to caller number 4. You won stuff. You won stuff. $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings.
You won chickens.
That's right. You can get chickens, but they have other stuff there. They have other great stuff.
Oh, that's right.
You can go there and get a bunch of different stuff. Stop by this location and get chickens all day today, or we would rather see you right now when we're here till 2 o'clock. 48th and O and South Point. Use the Chick-fil-A app to order or scan, get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win that free tailgate meal for 15 people with nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, or lemonade. How's it going for you so far?
Oh,
You
not
okay?
too bad. Yeah. I'm at Chick-fil-A, so it couldn't be much worse. The Huskers are interesting, if not good. So that's always fun too. And I'm fascinated to see how the rest of the season plays out, much less next season. But we got a little bit of wait for that, I guess.
How confident are you that Nebraska, with a makeshift staff, I mean, they've got consultants, they've got in-house guys that do coach. I think they can watch film. Where some of these guys can watch film with the players, so they get to know the players that way. But with 4 assistants gone, they're going to have to bring some of those consultants back on the field. I'm guessing a guy like a Bill Bush, who has Nebraska, was with Bill Callahan, was a great recruiter in the Bill Callahan era, but has handled special teams in the past. Ron Brown could immediately be your run back coach, obviously. They've got Frank Verducci, who's an offensive analyst who could probably take over some offensive position, probably a couple of different positions there, maybe the quarterbacks as well. So they've got guys in-house that they can do it with. But if they pull this off, I mean, even if they play well against Wisconsin, who's, I think, the best defense in the West, the best team by far now in the West, that's going to be a big deal considering they just fired 4 coaches. I mean, even if they have a bye week, and I know they have a bye week, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that game. That one's interesting. I think that Iowa has been struggling so much that you do have a chance in that one. But it is going to be interesting because they're going to rely on their defense. They're going to have to rely on their defense, and of course that's been the calling card all season. But there's nothing changing on the defensive side of the ball. And Wisconsin and Iowa don't give you too much to have to prepare for on offense. They're just not very good offenses. So I think that you could still see this being low-scoring games, and maybe Nebraska's makeshift offensive staff can just get enough out of them. But at the same time, I don't know what it's going to look like. Is Adrian going to be there? No. Are all these guys, is Austin Allen going to be there? Are guys going to risk their opportunities at the pros and getting hurt and all that and I hate this part about it, when the administration has given up on them this season. And that's the part that I don't like about it, is that it's clear, I understand they didn't make a bowl, but there was still something to be gained. And there's still 2 rivalry games, 2 trophy games. If the trophy and the rivalry stuff doesn't get you, what should get you more than anything is you haven't beat Wisconsin since 2012. You haven't beat Iowa since 2014. These are wins that you need and can help Scott Frost in his long-term goals. I mean, when we look back at his total record, part of it would be, have you beaten Iowa? What is your record against Wisconsin? They're not going to be good, but if you can just get a win in the win column there against those teams, it'll help your argument a little bit. So I'm fascinated by how this season is going to end, and I think it's obvious they're going to rely on that black shirt defense to play the way that they played against Ohio State.
Well, if they haven't given up by now, I don't think that's going to be a problem the rest of the year. It'll be interesting to watch, and we'll watch it all the way till the end of the year. But if they were going to give up, I think versus Ohio State down 17-3 is a perfect time to give up, and Nebraska didn't give up.
But it's a difference between giving up as a team and giving up one. This is the thing the argument I always make about 2017, because they hear it all the time. Well, Riley's players quit on him. Well, of course they did. The administration quit on that team before conference play.
Yeah.
They fired the athletic director. The writing was on the wall for Mike Riley. There wasn't much to fight for. It was a done deal.
Yeah.
So, once, and it happened this year now, the administration gave up on this year because they made all these moves. All this stuff is done for next year. It's done for recruiting right now. And I understand that part of it. And it's the early signing period and all of that. I understand why they did it this way, but it's not a good look if you're on this team right now and you think the administration gave up on the year. So let's see where we go from here, especially, like I said, when you're a player that has to make a decision. If you're beat up, if you're banged up and you have pro aspirations for after this season, I just don't know if I would really go out there and risk it when the administration is done with the season and the results don't matter.
Well, I'll fight back against that a little bit. The text line, I'd like to hear from you, 464-5685. Is what Bock is saying true, that they gave up on the season? If they win the next two games, you're not going to say they gave up on the season necessarily, right? Or you might have said, wait a minute, those other coaches that stepped in did a really good job, and maybe it was a lot of those guys that they got rid of that weren't doing their job as well. If four guys could step in and they win the last two games, then that's going to say something else. And that Scott Frost made a CEO-type decision that worked out really well for him in the last couple of games. We'll see. I don't expect Nebraska to be great offensively, but they haven't been yet anyway. With those four guys that left, maybe there's a new voice in there that can get something out of some guy that we haven't seen so far this year. I guess I never thought of it from that aspect. I wonder if others do, that Nebraska just bailed on this season, like Bock is saying.
Well, they're certainly not going at full strength, are they? I mean, they have interim head coaches everywhere, or interim coaches everywhere on the offensive side of the ball. I just don't think it's a good look. Again, I understand where it is, and it's better than the 2017 situation, right? Because they are saying, we believe in you long term. These moves were made for long term. It's going in the next year, but for this Wisconsin game, for this Iowa game, you don't think it would be better if they had their full staff ready to prepare for it, ready to give everything they can to win here? And it's understandable. We had our silly show mantra of just get to 5-7. I think they kind of wanted to shut down that it mattered whether they got to 5-7 or not.
Yeah, that's probably
and they
part
did
of it.
Because this is happening. The moves are happening whether they win these games or not. They could be 3-9, and this is still gonna happen the way that they laid it out this week. So I would have liked, even as a fan, just even to feel a little bit more was on the line for this Wisconsin-Iowa games.
I want to see if this goes anywhere. It may not. 464-5685. Is Bock right? Because I didn't see it that obviously. I mean, Bock obviously saw this. They've obviously given up on this season. I think he felt that way when they decided not to play a bowl game last year, or at least be available for a bowl game. Now you're saying it again. It doesn't matter whether they win 5 games, the next 2, or whether they win 3 games. They've already told us that we're firing 4 assistants. We're keeping the rest of the guys. And so what happens from here on out doesn't mean a hill of beans. How do you feel about it? 464-5685. We'll continue with that discussion live from Chick-fil-A coming up next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Join the whole ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Sponsored by Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, Tractor Supply Distribution Center, T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, Planet Fitness, Barnwood and Leather, and Vitalize Health.
Hi, Andy Neal of Cartridge World. We are not a big box store that sells everything and specializes in nothing. Cartridge World is your local expert when it comes to streamlining office printing and scanning. No big box can match our proven no-cost lease program. We customize solutions that supply you with multifunction printers and all the required service just for buying cartridge roll, ink, and toner at a 30% savings. Call for a no-cost consultation, 464-3455, or go online to cartridgeworld.com.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. Football quarterfinals are in the books. In Class B, Waverly's season came to an end against Bennington, losing in a shutout 41-0. In Class C1, Lincoln Lutheran fell out of the playoffs, losing to Ord 42-7. In 6-man, Parkview Christian lost in their quarterfinals debut to Potter Dix 70-34. In recruiting, former Lincoln East quarterback Noah Walters has been offered a walk-on spot for the Cornhuskers. The volleyball playoffs have come to an end at the Bob Devaney Center. In Class B, Waverly lost to Omaha Skutt on Wednesday. Norris beat Elkhorn North on Friday in a 5-set thriller, but lost to Omaha Skutt on Saturday in 4 sets. In Class C1, Lincoln Lutheran beat Grand Island CC in a sweep, advancing them to the championship. There, they would play Kearney Catholic and win in 4 sets, anointing them this year's Class C1 state volleyball champions. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Lincoln's mega liquidation store is here. Wholesale Logistics opens Friday on West O Street as a bin store with tons of liquidation pallets, appliances, mattresses, furniture, laundry detergent, and more. Brand new mattresses 30 to 60% off retail with well-known brands. New furniture also 30 to 60% off retail value. Brand new LG scratch and dent appliances 35 to 40% off retail. Wholesale Logistics purchases truckloads of smaller items from major retailers and throws them into bins, with everything starting at just $8. Get to Wholesale Logistics, opening Friday at 2811 West O Street.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I'm not commenting on that until I'm ready to comment on it.
Jake Bockoven.
You watch the game. You figure it out, huh? What do you think?
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 3 of Tom and Bock. We're at Chick-fil-A at 48-0. They're also doing this at South Point. Last week we were at South Point. This week we're at 48-0. We just go back and forth and eat lots of chicken and meet lots of great people and watch them use their Chick-fil-A app to order, scan, get rewards points, and be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people. Chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade. The winner is drawn and called tomorrow. I do want to get back to this question, and we've got some response, Bock, off the text line, 464-5685, the Sutter Heyman text line. I wanted some response to, firing coaches, your question, that firing 4 coaches on the offensive side, yeah, it's great, and maybe you would have done that, but it means you've also given up on this season. What's the text line say about that?
Well, there's a lot of different response to go through there. Some people agree with me, some don't. So we can read through some of these. But somebody says somebody's pointing out the early signing period, December 15th.
Yeah.
It's all about getting coaches
Yeah.
in to recruit. And
Yeah.
that's why the move
Yeah.
was made, partially in the timing. I do know that, but I don't like that because it's happening. This is not just a Nebraska thing. It's happening across college football where you're seeing a lot of coordinator or position coach moves right now. And it is to kind of set yourself up for that.
Mhm.
And I just don't. I think that's an unintended consequence of that December signing period, and I don't like it.
Yep. Now let's get to the phone calls. 464-5685. Let's take a call from Jay. Hi, Jay.
Hey guys, hey, really like the show. I love what you guys are doing. It's fun to listen.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, I like to think that I'm a realistic Husker fan. You know, the Stein Coolers, the Jay Foremans, the Macavickas aren't suiting up to walk through the door. So parity's real in college football. I think we all need to realize that. I think most Husker fans, you know, I'm in my mid-40s, realize that. We understand that, you know, parity's real within college football. So the glory days are gone. Second of all, you know, here's my biggest challenge with this is that, yes, I completely understand the dynamic of we would like to hold on to those coaches till the end of the year, but we also don't understand what happens behind closed doors, and we have to trust that Trev made the decision based on what's best for the university and the program moving into next year. So I understand we all want to sit here and we want to be armchair quarterbacks and we want to assume, and that's what we do. That's what passes the time. But we've got to trust the administration and know that, hey, what they're doing is the best for the program, the best for Coach Frost. I feel that man's pain when I see him on the sideline holding his head in his hands. I feel that too. I want him to win. I want the program to win. I think for me, what really worries me is that when you think about Coach Frost, they restructure the contract. They don't extend. If I'm a coach that's considering coming in, what's my longevity with this program? And maybe you guys discussed this earlier, and I apologize, but what am I hooking my wagon to? Is this guy 1 year? If we don't succeed this year, is he out? And then if a new head coach comes in, you know, the past says that they switch regimes. They bring in their own coaches. So what do they expect to get right now with Frost possibly being a one and done next year if they're not successful? Again, guys, I appreciate it. I'm going to hang up and listen. Keep doing a good job.
And you can help answer this, Bock, but I think you're – okay, well, we'll take a real quick call, but we got to answer the question regarding what makes you believe this can work? Go ahead and answer Jay's question real quick.
Well, for just his first point there, and just the blind belief in the administration. I've done that before with Sean Eichhorst. I've done that before with Steve Peterson. I get what he's saying though. Like we don't know exactly all the details here, but I mean, sometimes I think we take this stuff a little too seriously. It's sports. It's supposed to be fun. We can throw our opinions around, especially on sports radio. So, you know, based on the information we have, and nobody has all of the information. Even Trev Alberts doesn't have all the information of some of the coaches' meetings and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting there. But as far as, you know, who would want to come, it's the assistant coach. There's something
you'll make
maybe
close to $1 million.
That,
you'll make $500,000.
It's not just the money, like you said, but the assistant coaching world is prepared to move around. There's not that many guys. This isn't the Osborne
some
staff.
Of those guys move every year.
Around 25 years.
Yeah, some of those guys. We saw how many guys moved throughout the Callahan era. Certainly, Tom Osborne was unusual because he had the same coaches every single year, almost for his entire coaching tenure. Just doesn't happen as often in college football. These guys are bouncing around trying to get closer to their recruiting lines. Let's take another phone call. Sean, did you say Nick? Is Harold? I'm sorry. Hi, Harold. How are you?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Great topic today. Obviously, there's plenty of Husker news to go around, the water coolers and stuff for everybody this afternoon and this morning. I just wanted to touch base with before the break, Bock. I was listening to your comments in regards to the situation where you felt like they were kind of quitting on the team as far as this year's team and looking more towards the future. And I agree with some of what you're saying. But I guess the only thing, and I'll keep it kind of short and sweet here, but at some point you've had this, you know, it's like, for instance, the Illinois game, the first thing that came out of Frost is same movie, same ending, you know, I mean, and we've gotten this all the way through this year. We had it through last year. We had it through the year before. And granted, there are 2 games left, and you can look at it as a scenario of, yes, they feel like they're giving up on this team. I choose to look at it more of kind of how Tom was saying, maybe it's that breath of fresh air that the players are getting from some different voices, because we've seen the story that those four coaches and Scott Frost, I'm not excluding him at all, but we've seen the story that's been written for the last 26 games. These last 2 games, although you can look at it like we're quitting on this team this year, I don't think the team is going to look at it like that. And why continue going on for 2 more weeks doing the same exact thing that we've been doing when this could provide us with a breath of fresh air to maybe get us over that hump? Maybe not as prepared as what you were saying, Bock, but maybe that new breath of fresh air in regards to the information being given to them is taken a little bit differently going into these last 2 weeks. I'll hang up and listen to you guys' comments. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good stuff, Harold. We appreciate it. 464-5685. Some of that is last night heard Trev say, it was Trev's decision to make these calls. Because I think we assume this is all coming from Trev Alberts or Ronnie Green or somebody else.
Yeah.
I think he's being honest when he said, Scott, I'm not going to argue about any decision that you might make on your coaching staff, stand pat or don't stand pat. But I'm reading between the lines. If they met for 2 hours every Sunday, that Trev got enough from Scott to realize that Scott knew what should be done. Like in those discussions, Tuesdays with Maury, Sundays with Trev would have been even better to listen to those conversations, a fly on the wall and what was talked about. But ultimately, he said he left it up to Frost to make those decisions. But he also thinks that in their discussions that maybe Frost was realizing what needs to change at Nebraska. And if the change needed to happen, is it counterproductive not to make those changes now and give those guys opportunities? I think there is a possibility that new voices could come in and inspire. How many coaches do you really, really – they'll bring in the analysts. They'll do the plays. They have a lot of experience. I don't think the product will be dramatically worse than what it's been because it hasn't always been great anyway.
I just don't know what the approach is going to be, though, because it's your ultimate goal now to kind of figure out what you can do for next season?
Right.
Or is it kind of just to play this out and get these wins? And I think that's particularly interesting for Adrian Martinez. We don't know what his decision will be, but if his decision is to move on, does it help you to play Adrian these final games? It helps you if you're trying to get the win, but it doesn't help you long-term all that much unless the win category, a few more wins that might help, some favor in the fan base here and there. But it's just fascinating to me to see the approach that they're going to have because a lot of it, to me, is going to be dictated based on how these players take this.
Right.
And, it was a great call, this last call, to see, how is the locker room going to take this? Do they see this as a sign as a failed season? The defense probably shouldn't take it as any way bad at all. They see a lot of faith from the administration, from the coaching staff altogether that they're going to lean on them moving forward in the year to come. But as far as offensively, I just don't know the approach there. Do you want to try to see what's best and experiment with things while you don't even have your coaching staff for next year?
Are you saying it's Logan Smothers time? Is it Logan Smothers time?
I don't know, because a part of it is Adrian coming back, and we haven't hit that too much. A lot of people are kind of taking the idea that he's playing through the broken jaw. Maybe this would be his last attempt at this thing.
Bad ankle sprain.
A
high ankle sprain can last. And you could see him hobbling last game, and certainly the week before that. Adrian, I think, basically at that press conference, it felt like he was saying goodbye to me, like just kind of preparing that. When the jaw announcement came out and the high ankle sprain announcement came out, it just felt like, okay, I'll let you know all my medical information because I'm about to play my last couple of games of my, usually the stories don't come out until the end.
Right.
It feels like the story is coming out now.
And that all is another reason why is that the end? Is that where Adrian says, I don't need to get injured anymore?
Right.
The goal it didn't work out.
Right.
Maybe I should look at my next opportunities and not risk getting hurt when I can't even save my offensive coordinator.
It's a weird conversation that the administration is giving up by making this announcement now and firing coaches right before the end of the year when they've completely, haven't completely filled out their resume. But at the same time, it might give some Husker fans hope that the future can start today. We don't have to wait 3 weeks down the road for the future to start. Maybe in the meantime, we can win a few football games that we haven't given up on this season. I never really thought of it until you said it that way, that they've given it up. And I almost got it as more hope that these guys weren't working out. It wasn't going well. Let's get at least some voices temporarily that can make this thing good.
Well, and I would understand that if you're making, switching play calling, you get rid of an offensive coordinator and give your wide receiver coach an opportunity to do it, or one position coach doesn't work. But when it's a mass change, like 4 coaches, 4 of your 5 assistant coaches,
that's pretty
on
eager.
offense,
I thought it would be 2.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be no more than 2.
And I don't know if that's I don't think that that's a long-term problem. And people are pointing out the text line allows these coaches to kind of go out and search themselves. But man, I would have felt a lot more comfortable in my mind if they would have said, all right, the writing's on the wall. We let you guys know. Maybe we make it public. Maybe we don't. But just kind of fight this thing out, play it out, and see what you guys can do. It feels very odd to have, just kind of, and it's given those guys that don't necessarily have those coaching roles opportunities and maybe chances to try out or put something on the resume. But all that stuff, all this experimental stuff going on, well, there's still 2 games left. And maybe it's me putting too much on the Wisconsin and Iowa games. Maybe it's me thinking that would, a victory in either one of those would mean something. But in my mind, it does, because I've been through so many of those beatdowns that would just be nice to break those streaks. And again, I don't think I think saying giving up on the season's maybe too strong of wording there. But I don't think they're giving it their best go. They're at least giving it a different look here. And I think a lot of it will be told by how many of these players are going to go ahead and sit out moving forward. I think there will be a few of them. And
that's
we'll
a big part of this equation.
Yeah.
What will JoJo do? Apparently the hand is bothering him a little bit. And he said he's preparing for, a lot of money, to make a lot of money. Does he have to prove any more? I
don't
does
think
JoJo
so.
have a a lot? Are we going to be mad at JoJo?
Is Deontay going to come back?
Is Deontay
He's got injury history.
There's guys that have decisions to make. We're wondering about Damian Daniels down the. I think there are guys to be, and maybe the expectation is look at all those other guys like JoJo who stayed, Deontay Williams and Markel Dismuke and Ben Stilley and all these guys. Why don't you stay? I don't think. For the final year of what could be the final year of your coach, help save his job. Maybe there's that plea this year. Maybe you sell that to some degree. It's going to be interesting. This is, if not good, because it would have been really tough to look at all the same staff if they were, or just one guy being gone and say everything is going to get better. But now you've got 4 new dudes coming in. At least that adds some fuel to the fire. It may not be good. It may be terrible, but it's going to be great in that aspect of it.
Well, that's what I say. If you're not good, at least be interesting. And Nebraska certainly is interesting. Yeah. And that goes beyond just what's happening today. I think people, because you're so close to it, forget there's not a whole lot of national championship native son quarterbacks leading their team. And even less than that, there's less of that situation, and then the athletic director is a former Butkus Award winner. Yeah. I mean, this is a football school with loyalty, as far as the fan base beyond its years. I mean, the last 20 years, they probably don't deserve the sellout streak to go what it has, but every Saturday there's loyalty. And the interest, I mean, we'd almost be too spoiled if the Scott Frost thing came in and worked immediately. We'd be tough to take on message boards because we would think that there's just something in the water. And if you're a Husker,
it's the Frank Solich curse. We are being cursed with really bad college football, but at least we have basketball now.
That's
Bock.
Right.
We have Western Illinois tonight, 7:00 PBA. This is a stolen bit. I heard Schaefer do it earlier today, and I thought, that's a good idea. I'll just steal it from Schaefer. This bit, because we're looking forward to that starting 5. I think we know who the starting 5, although Latt is out of the starting lineup, so that would put Wilhelm Bradenbach in with Derek Walker. Then you got the Batu McGowans, and then who goes with them? Tamanaga, CJ Wilcher, maybe either of those two.
Oh, well, I think Verge will start.
Alonzo Verge. I'm sorry.
But for what it's worth, if you've ever heard, man is hurt. It's not being pulled because he's. Didn't play well or anything. He's not going to play today.
Yeah, Kobe Webster's been bothered by a back spasm, and Lat Mann has been bothered, I think, by an ankle.
And I'm frustrated because I don't know, it's just me. I like Kobe Webster getting his revenge against Western Illinois type of thing. And it's not even revenge. I mean, he played there and moved up to Nebraska. But I always like, players playing their former teams. But, I don't know if he'll play tonight.
Leading score. That's the bit they did earlier that I'm stealing right now.
Oh, I see.
Leading score. Who you got tonight?
I think Alonzo Verge is going to be the leading scorer throughout the year. But, I mean, he can fill up the stat sheet altogether. I think he'd be my best bet on every given night, though.
I'm going to go with Bryce McGowens. I just got a feeling coming off that 15-point night where he led in scoring versus Colorado that maybe he's got a little confidence going.
He looked a lot better in that game.
He had a couple late threes, which really helped him.
Yeah.
Leading rebounder.
Leading rebounder. I think I'll go with Derek Walker.
Yeah, Derek Walker is the easy pick there.
Breidenbach in the starting lineup might get a few of them.
He might get a few, and that's the big concern, right, about this team the entire year. The guards are going to have to help out on the rebounds, and you're going to have to be really physical to compete in the Big Ten. And that isn't something that just happens easily, it feels like, with Fred Hoiberg coach teams.
Now, you said the other day that you hadn't seen Breidenbach and Walker on the court at the same time, and you're looking forward to it. Now it's your starting lineup.
That's his starting lineup.
And I think and this is nothing against Ladd because he provides, good defense and his length and his shooting. But I think Breidenbach's really good. I think by the end of the year, this could be your starting lineup as well.
Okay. Anybody else you expect to show up tonight? That's it. From that bit, I mean, as far as leading scorer, rebounder.
Which ones? I think just it's the debut of your 5-star. Unless you went to the exhibitions, which you and I did.
Yeah.
But as far as stats that'll count, I'm excited to see again the debut of two of the most heralded players to come to Nebraska basketball in quite some time, and Bryce McGowens and obviously Keisei Tamanaga, who I think will hit a couple threes tonight.
He's going to be so fun to watch. Even if you're, you would never get the nickname Japanese Kobe if you couldn't at least shoot.
Curry.
Yeah, Curry. I'm sorry, Japanese Curry. And not be able to shoot. And by the way, he went off for 50 last night, Steph. If he could, I don't expect him to do anything like that. But he is more than just a shooter.
Yeah.
I think people are going to find out that he's not just shooting from the panhandle all the time. He can actually dribble, put it on the floor, be a decent assist guy. He's a good basketball player.
Oh yeah.
I think he's going to be a fan favorite. I see him being like seventh man off the bench normally, especially if Latt's available. Then you're going to have Breidenbach, the sixth guy. But Kobe's right in that realm, right?
I think he's
along
right
with Wilcher.
Well, Wilcher and Edwards, I think that they're going to take turns kind of getting hot throughout the year. They can both shoot. They both have athleticism, especially Edwards as far as the athleticism goes. And I don't remember as you or somebody described him as the backup Bryce McGowens, which is basically what he is. But I mean, he brings that same type of athleticism and can shoot the ball. But if you can get one or the other of those guys going on a given night, that can provide a huge boost to this team, let alone if you can get both of them, obviously. It's just fun because, you go through these different games, and I think you're going to have different guys step up, and that's the strength of this team is the depth, is that it can be a different guy on a different night, sometimes based on matchups, sometimes based on who's just shooting well.
DP thinks, and I think he's right, Keon Edwards is the best athlete on this team.
Oh, yeah.
And he can shoot. He's had a couple of games where he's made, or at least one game where he made 3, and I think another one where he made a couple as well. What do you got up?
Gene actually has a pretty good point on the text line. He said leading rebounder will be somebody from Western Illinois. Rebounding,
Ouch.
not the strength of Nebraska.
It's not going to be the strength, but they have enough athleticism. A lot of that, rebounding is effort. It's sheer effort, and it's want to. And it also takes your guards not to be leaking out early all the time on a fast break, assuming that Derek Walker is going to get it or that Mann's going to get it. They sometimes are going to have to stay home and help out on the rebounds. And it's just going to be something Nebraska's not good at this year. But maybe they get a little bit better. They're so good, I think, shooting-wise. I think I've said this before. I don't think there's going to be as many 5-minute, 10-minute droughts that we've seen before. First of all, they can make shots. Second of all, when they get fouled, they can make free throws. And Nebraska, some of their droughts had to do with just couldn't make free throws. I think this team will be better in both those categories. And also, I see enough length where you can finish around the rim.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that'll be huge.
And that length will help with defense, too. I was thinking that scoring drought thing, like you said before, but then the Colorado game showed up and they had a few scoring droughts.
Still scored 82, though.
Still scored 82. They're going to be a high-scoring game. They're going to put up it's going to be a fast-paced offense, a lot of threes jacked up from this team, and now with a bunch of guys that can shoot the ball, as opposed to the last few years where you have guys that can do it here and there, but not necessarily their specialty. It's just going to be a fun season. I don't expect Western Illinois really to keep this one close, but like you said, they might still have a scoring drought here and there, but it's going to be hard to keep up with them. Those other teams that are playing them are going to need them to have a scoring drought just so they won't get to 100.
Well, tonight you got Western Illinois and Sam Houston State this Friday, and then when we're at Chick-fil-A next week at South Point, we'll be talking about playing Creighton that night.
A week away.
1 week away is Creighton, and if they look good in these first 2 games, we won't be able to control ourselves with the hype. It'll be completely out of control. Like, what seed are we? A 2 or a 3? Are we a 2 or a 3 in the NCAA tournament? That's how quickly that conversation changes. I just think this is going to be a fun to watch team, and I'm hopeful that it can be good and optimistic it could be very good.
Yeah, well, it's time to get there. I mean, this is year 3 of the Fred Hoiberg hire. He came in with a name. And that was respected around the nation. He kind of got things going around this time when he was at Iowa State. And it looks like he's got the guys to do it finally, like a whole team of them. So the expectations should be there. You're seeing preseason predictions, people put Nebraska in the tournament. That's what I want to see.
Well, they beat a preseason top 30 team for a lot of people in Colorado. So maybe what we saw, at least a little bit of it, is real. Chick-fil-A is where we're located. We're at 48th and O today. But they're also doing this deal at the South Point location, and that's where we'll be next week. And you can use your Chick-fil-A app to order or scan. They give you rewards points, so you'll be able to be registered to win a free tailgate meal for 15 people with the nuggets, fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade. And then they draw the winner, and they call you and let you know that you are the winner if you do. BC, we'll talk a lot of Husker football. We could throw in some basketball talk. He's now the beat writer for Husker 24/7, or at least one of them that covers Husker basketball for Husker 24/7. So we can talk about Husker basketball and Husker football. There's plenty to talk about with both, and we'll do it next on Tom and Bock.
Download our app by searching 93.7 A Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Decreasing cloud cover and a fairly pleasant fall day on the way. We'll see a high of 59. Winds out of the east at around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of around 44. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a good chance of showers during the afternoon and a high of around 55. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Southeast Community College, we know that winter isn't even here yet, but spring is already on our minds. Registration for the spring 2022 semester is open now. Whether you want to get a head start on a 4-year degree, learn a new trade with a certificate program, or add to your job skills, SCC has a class for you. Spring semester starts January 10th. Learn more about our more than 60 programs of study online at southeast.edu. SCC, your path to possible.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
Experience an increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or come for Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Aggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Chick-fil-A, 48th and O, Tailgate Tuesday with Tom and Bock as we welcome in BC, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been an interesting couple days, but it's good.
Have you recovered? I mean, do you get like mental fatigue from days like yesterday, just thinking about them and then having to process all that and then write it down?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty thankful thing I have to have the job I'm doing, writing about sports. So it's all right. But yeah, it was a busy one. I mean, it's probably, I don't remember a bye week. And I definitely don't remember a day just exactly like that. Not in season. I mean, usually when Nebraska has made moves, or let people go, it's always after the season. So this is sort of a new one.
Yeah,
around here.
Bock asked the question because it felt like to him that to fire 4 offensive coaches with 2 games left to go means that you've given up. You've said, okay, it doesn't really matter what the record is the rest of the year. We've kind of given up on this season. I didn't think of it that way. Did you?
No. Here's what I think. It's early signing day, and the calendar has changed everything where you sort of have to, I don't know. This was like the deadline, I felt like, where Trev Alberts had to decide on Frost, and Frost sort of had to decide on his assistants because he couldn't very well send some of those guys out there, or it was no advantage to them to send like Ryan Held and some of these coaches out on the road recruiting if like 3 weeks later the people you're building relationships with, if those coaches aren't even there. And so I think what we're seeing is a product of early signing day. Like we haven't quite seen it around these parts, where you sort of have to have your ducks in a row as early as possible about this is what we're doing as the runway into next season. I do think the 22 season started yesterday. I mean, I would say that. Like, I don't think it means they've given up on the games ahead, but I feel like what's ahead is all part of 22 now. Like, it's all pointed toward that direction. I still think they can compete and possibly beat Iowa. I think Wisconsin's going to be a tall task because of their defense. It's going to be interesting how, Frost kind of mends the locker room too. I'm sure there's some guys hurt because, they had coaches who they've been with every day and they're like family and they've recruited them. And so you got to kind of walk through that part. So it'll be interesting, like the mood that meets us when we sort of next week get a talk to players and who's left over on the coaching staff. I mean, it'll be kind of a weird vibe.
When you mentioned it, it kind of does feel like you're kind of moving to the 2022 season. Do you think that the goal in these final games is to win those games? Obviously that's the ultimate goal, but is to put everything into winning those games, or is it more to kind of prepare for 2022, maybe get some younger guys more playing time? It's kind of one of those weird like bowl discussions where, some of the players might opt out. And so you just want to kind of see what you have moving forward.
I think in some cases their hands might be forced on that. Like, with Doman in particular, I know he's got sort of a hand injury or something, and it might be a deal where he just needs to get that handled, and he might not be around. And that's a tough one if that's the case, because your defense is playing so well, but who's like the focal point of it, it's probably Doman as much as anybody. And so you'd be throwing maybe like an Isaac Gifford or somebody into that role against really good teams. And I'm pretty excited about like Isaac Gifford in the future, but it could be a tough assignment for a couple of those guys. I mean, you're already seeing Miles Farmer. I think it's possible you might see a little bit more Noah Pola-Gates. I do think there is a part where that stops, though, where you don't go overboard with it. And the reason I'd say that is you still have to do a service to the guys on your roster who are putting in all the work. And these guys want a big win before they leave. I mean, they really do. Like, they want to at least put something on the wall that's not a win over Buffalo or Fordham or Northwestern. And I think, you know, it's sometimes easy for us to say, well, throw Logan Smothers out there. And then maybe the guys see the practices and they're like, Logan Smothers isn't ready for it. I mean, that very well could be. And I always take that into account. So I think we have to be careful sometimes with acting like it's a video game, because there aren't really trial runs with Nebraska football. People act like there are, and I know Frost already has next year guaranteed, I guess. But if Nebraska goes and loses to Iowa 42-6, that's rough. I mean, if Iowa's running across the field and grabbing the trophy again at Memorial Stadium, no one's going to like that. So I know people say, "I'll do this and that," but it's hard. It's hard to pull that trigger.
Yep. BC Husker 24/7 is our guest. So he talked about fresh ideas, wanting some fresh ideas, and I'm just thinking about that with the number of guys that have been fired. Lubick, obviously, there was maybe some tug of war at times between who actually had control of the offense. Nebraska's running back situation never improved since Divine Ezigbo, who they didn't recruit, and you're with your fourth-team guy at the start of fall camp, who is now the starter. And is a good back, but is that the best you could do? The offensive line, we know the struggles there, and so the firing of Greg Austin certainly makes sense. And you haven't had a quarterback develop under Mario Verduzco at a really high level. Adrian's been good at times, but you talked about why doesn't Nebraska have a backup quarterback? Well, why don't they? And maybe that's part of the reason. I mean, there are certainly, you could see the clear reasons for the guys that were dismissed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in these cases, it always goes back to the head man, but they're not going to let go of the head man. So usually he's got to make some moves to show that you're going a different direction. And I do think he's probably right that they're at a point where they've sort of done stuff a certain way and it hasn't, materialized as they hope. And if you can't just continue to do that, I think 2 years ago, Matt Lubick, I think, is a pretty sharp offensive mind, but he's probably very similar in mindset as Frost. Like they're very like-minded in how they think about offense and stuff like that. And I wonder in hindsight if, it might have been better if they had got someone who maybe, I don't know, pushed a little in a different direction. But, it is what it is now. And now the question is Frost, going to want to be more of that CEO type? Is he going to allow somebody in a make it or break it year to sort of have full reign of the offense and OC he brings in? Do you take Verduzco's open position and make that a special teams coordinator? And then Frost works with the QBs more if he's got an OC you trust to run the offense as a whole. I think it'll be interesting what the map is that he laid out to Trev, and as we get it laid out in front of us and how quickly he'll put that map in front of us about what he's planning. But that's sort of my rough draft idea of what might happen. He gives an OC more control of the offense. Maybe he works with QBs more. Maybe you have the QBs coach position that was become a special teams coordinator. I don't know. We'll see.
And it's certainly an interesting decision made, and people kind of have their different narratives of why it was made. Some people kind of think of the Harbaugh type thing where you restructure the deal, don't blow it up, and see how it moves forward. Some people think maybe they're thinking with their heart instead of their head, and Trev Alberts kind of said as much as far as, Scott Frost being a brother and a former Husker, and if there's anybody that deserves a chance, maybe we should give it to him. But in my mind, they might be just kind of being a little bit nuanced in the fact that they're not ready to blow it up because they are close. And the reason they are close is that defensive side. So how much of this was about kind of keeping that together rather than blowing it up and bringing a whole new staff altogether? And you don't know if that defense is going to continue moving like it is the way that Shenander's got it going.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, that side of the ball, they've played really well. And they've got, like, sort of the culture you want across your whole roster. Like, they play disciplined, and for the most part, they don't have the big play go against them. I know they had the 75-yarder against Ohio State, but that's been very rare. And Ohio State's a different animal. To hold that team to 26 points is pretty darn good. So, yeah, I understand why you wouldn't want to blow that up. And look, I don't think anybody – sometimes in this discussion about what should happen with Frost, each side acts like the other side is stupid. And I just don't get it. Like, I understand a person with a point of view that's like, hey, they're 15-27. Nobody but Scott Frost survives that. That's probably accurate. I also understand that there are reasonable people who aren't dolts who look at this season and they're like, they are better. They're a better football team than what I've watched the last 3 years. And I know what their record is, but I've also watched them go toe-to-toe with these teams. And I'm willing to give this guy, who is a legacy guy, who means a lot to this place, one more crack at it. There's been a lot invested into this, and maybe they're that close to finally having their number called. I want to see how it goes. I understand that point of view too, and I would also add to it, we tend to sometimes pretend like it's monopoly money over there. That was going to be a severe buyout, as it was. I think Trev, with the hand that was in front of him, probably did what he needed to do yesterday. He's bringing a guy back who I think probably, if you took a vote in this state, would you like Frost back for 1 year? If you got away from social media and the message boards and actually just let the people of the state vote, I think Frost would win the vote and get another crack at it. And I think Trev Alberts realized that was probably the popular sentiment. And he also knew, I got to get this buyout restructured if it doesn't go well next year. And he did that. So I think now I actually kind of woke up today like feeling there's clarity around Husker football. Everybody knows what the deal is. Frost has to win big in 22. And just because he was a QB and won a title here isn't going to afford him more than that. And we know it. I mean, it's all out in front of us now. And I don't know. There's something I think that I think the haze is sort of gone now, and it's very evident to everybody what has to happen. And so I kind of like that.
Well, I agree with you for the most part. The one part I am, and we'll have to see kind of what the staff put together and all that. But what do you think the expectations or the bare minimum expectation is for next year? We've been going in the last couple of offseasons saying just make a bowl. Are you back to that discussion, or do they need to take a significant step and to get to like 8 to 9 wins to think that this thing is headed in the right direction?
I think the latter. I think I wrote this Sunday. I'm okay. I was okay. I was in the camps. It's like, okay, you get one more crack at it. But I've always viewed 22. I looked at the schedule 3 years ago, and I looked at 22, and I was like, okay, that's going to be year 5 of Frost. That's got to be the year where they are right there in the West race. And that's just sort of the standard for Husker football. No matter what happens before it, when they get to that point, that's where it needs to be. Whatever bricks that were laid or whatever happened previous, it's got to be like 8, 9 wins or better all the time at that point. And I believe that right now because, in a way, what we're saying about this season and what Trev Alberts and others are saying is, I know the record is 3-7. That is what it is. But those who have watched it and know the schedule are probably viewing this team from a metric standpoint as more of a 6 or 7 win team, right? I think that's fair. I think a lot of us look at it and like metrics wise, they're a team that's probably, a 6 or 7 quality win team about this year. Well, if that's your viewpoint, then the next step next year is to be an 8 or 9 win team. So I don't think you should just sniff a bowl in 22 and that's enough. I do think, I think there's got to be pressure to raise the bar pretty high now, and it's got to be not just a dent in the wall season, but you kick down the wall. That's sort of what it's got to be. I think.
Hey, BC, the one thing that we've all complained about from time to time is a lack of identity, and there have been times that you've had it And I remember Scott saying he wanted the Oregon speed with Nebraska strength, or Nebraska strength with Oregon speed. And at times it looked like they had that a little bit against Northwestern. Do you think that's still what he wants, and we'll know more when we see, or how much more will we know when we see the names of the coordinators that are coming?
Yeah, that's a big one. I want to see who that OC is. That's going to be interesting. Like, is he? I mean, is he willing, with it all on the line next year, to really abandon the sort of philosophy he's had as an offensive coach? I don't know if I can believe that. But that's where I guess we see who he hires and say, okay, he's gonna shift things dramatically. We have seen that before in a way, and I think Mike Riley's hand was forced, but he completely shifted his defensive mindset, bringing in a Diaco, and it didn't go as hoped. So that's where, sometimes this is tricky. And of course, I'd like to think he maybe has his assistant sort of in mind right now, but that's the big question is I don't know who's in Frost Network or what that looks like. And so he's sort of always been around the same type of coaches as he's come up, since UCF and all that. So this is going to be, it's going to be interesting how it all blends together.
Have you given up on the Vikings, or are you even watching on Sundays anymore?
I haven't given up. I still follow their scores. I don't watch though because it doesn't. It's not good for me. It's just not. I don't like. It doesn't bring me happiness. I'm sure that's how some Husker fans feel. So that's how I am about the Vikings.
Yep. Going into overtime, of course they're going to lose. Yep. They lost. Right on cue. I should learn, but I still watch them. BC, good stuff. Thanks for the time. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good, guys.
Brian Christopherson. The offensive identity of this next coach. I really want it to be that whole Oregon speed with Nebraska strength thing.
Yeah.
And you have an idea of what that could look like, but man, I just want to win. So just go with the Minnesota offense. Just go with that ugly Minnesota offense that they run that's so effective that Bock probably loves.
Oh, yeah.
It's ugly Big Ten football. But it's effective Big Ten football. So that conversation as we go forward will be a big one. That what's this identity going to be?
It should be noted though, if you do go through that offense, it's meant to limit possessions and all that, so it gives you less margin for error. So you really can't be turnover prone in that, and we've seen that with a lot of these offenses. If Tanner Morgan has a bad game, they can lose to Illinois. If Iowa Spencer Petras throws 4 picks, that's over. They're not going to win that game. So I mean, if you do go to that type of offense, you better. There's going to be some games where you're going to have a few turnovers, and it's going to put you in a bind.
Yeah, and you have a defense like you do now. It would make sense if you're trying to win a job for the next 5-10 years, and you're Scott Frost. He'll say, "Well, I've got a good defense. I'm going to protect that defense and run the ball."
Yeah.
So we could see. You could make an argument for a Minnesota, Wisconsin, or even Iowa type offense.
Yeah.
Eek.
I'm all in.
It's just horrible. It's a terrible thought. Let's get to break and finish off with the pregame. We'll have that next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
We had some people text in yesterday that feel that Scott Frost should get another year because the schedule will lighten up next season. I would hop aboard that train that he should get one more year if the problem was that Scott Frost and his staff were not able to win the big games yet, but it's not. You're 1-3 against Purdue, 0-2 against Wisconsin, 0-3 against Iowa, and 1-3 against Minnesota. I'm okay with it if you lose to top 10 Oklahoma or even top 5 Ohio State at home. But here we are 3.5 years in, and you're 6-15 against the Big Ten West.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or come for Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Aggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I think almost everybody wants Frost to succeed, and that's what creates a lot of the discomfort.
But you want him to deserve the time to do it, right? Give us, yeah, I want Frost to succeed, but I also want you to go deserve the time.
I understand
it takes to do so.
But the vast majority of the fan base wants this to work, right? And that's a lot of what creates a discomfort.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips.
Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to the ticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket. One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple. Happer and Schaefer. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or come for Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Aggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final moments. It's Tom and Bock at Chick-fil-A. We are at the 48th and O location. Of course, it's Tailgate Tuesday. Where else would we be? But they're also doing this at South Point, where you can use your Chick-fil-A app to order a scan, get rewards points, and you'll be registered to win a free tailgate meal for $15 with the nuggets, the fresh fruit, iced tea, and lemonade. Have you thought about what you're getting today?
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna. You introduced me to the what is it? The spicy Southwest salad.
Yeah, they'll serve it to someone other than me as well, though. I mean, they actually sell it at all their stores, but it is a kind of a special thing that they've whipped up for me.
Yeah,
No,
and
not
I've
really.
loved it. So I've got it a few times. I think I'm going that way over the grilled chicken tonight.
Oh, good. Southwest chicken salad it is. And maybe some waffle fries.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't want to be too healthy.
Yeah, you would get the healthy stuff. You got to have some waffle fries as well. The Big Ten has announced yesterday that Nebraska-Wisconsin will kick off at 2:30 November 20th in Madison. Game going to be broadcast on either ABC or ESPN. I guess they haven't decided. Of course, Nebraska has a 4-game losing streak going. They're 1-6 in the league. Wisconsin, on the other hand, has won their last 5 straight, and they're the best team maybe in the West. I think they are 6-3. Because, man, we thought their season was going to be a disaster, and all of a sudden they're the best team in the West, 4-2 record. But there is a 4-way tie. Iowa, Wisconsin, Purdue, and Minnesota all tied at 4-2. So it will be interesting to watch that.
That's part of the frustration overall, isn't it? This seems to be more than most years. The year where the West was pretty winnable, and that, just somebody out of that group is gonna win it. And Nebraska's not in that discussion. But I don't know. In Wisconsin, I'd have to go back and look, but I think it's the last 5 games, maybe 3 or 4 games, where they're not averaging a whole lot more than Georgia's defense is for total points.
Right.
So they're really hot right now.
Yep. Should mention this. Danny Busboom, former Husker volleyball star, now has the number 1 ranked team in the country. They've been number 2 for a while, but Texas lost over the weekend to Baylor. So now they're number 1 and undefeated. They swept past Nebraska, of course, in September, and they take over the top spot over Texas. Nebraska now second in the Big Ten standings at 17-6 overall, but they are now 11-3 in the conference. Wisconsin is the top team in the conference right now. Nebraska plays Maryland, and then they travel to Indiana on Sunday, so they should sweep this weekend and stay up at least to second, you would think, after this week is over. But the Big Ten is just crazy good.
Yeah, it just kind of always reminds you how spoiled you are that Nebraska's a top 15 team, and for most teams jumping in the top 15, you'd go, this is our chance, maybe we can win a national championship this year. And for us, we just kind of go, well, this might not be exactly the year, but
Damn it,
you never know. Some years it's just sometimes about who gets hot. And Nebraska, I think, has at least the athletes that, you can get it done on a given day. You might not beat Wisconsin, 8 out of 10 times, but I think you could beat them and catch them on their off day here and there.
Steph Curry last night, 50 points in their win over Atlanta last night. He was 14 of 28 from the field, 9 of 9 from 3, and 13 of 13 from the free throw line, along with 10 assists, 7 rebounds in 35 minutes of play. I mean, we say he's the best shooter ever, and he's the best shooter ever, but we need to probably give him more respect than that.
Yeah, and he doesn't get enough respect for his dribbling ability, for his ability to finish at the bucket, to find open teammates. I won't go on to the defensive side where he's a bit of a liability.
Yeah.
But, his size is always going to be that for him there. But, just an incredible, one of the best offensive players and one of the most entertaining offensive players to ever watch. And like you said, he's kind of getting up there in age 33. So let's respect him for as long as we got him. And then you wonder too if he does lose a step and he maybe isn't the dribbler that he once was or is today, if he'll continue to be in the league and as long as he can shoot the ball.
Jokic fight. It was a dirty foul. It was a foul. It was a dirty foul originally.
Yeah, on Markieff Morris.
On Markieff Morris, and he did get the flagrant too. But Jokic just lost it. What was going on in that guy's head?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, and he feels bad for what he did, but I like the off. After that, Marcus Morris, who I always think is a little bit more of the dangerous Morris twins, was tweeting off at Jokic, and then the Jokic brothers I started tweeting it. So it might be a Jokic brothers versus Marcus Morris brother, the Morris brother twins fight. That would be very entertaining.
And Jimmy Butler wanted to fight everybody.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler.
He wanted to take everybody outside. It was fantastic. Leaving today, Tailgate Tuesday at Chick-fil-A, 48-0. We'll talk to you again, same location next week. Happy hour. Are you happy?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, why wouldn't you be? We're at Chick-fil-A. Happy hour is coming up next. Bye-bye.
Great Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated